still blue. Footsteps on Fulham Road, moonlight on my pride. Wore this badge through highs and lows, never had to hide. Memories in Stamford breeze echo through my chest. Not every win is sweet, but I gave my all, no less. We sang through the rain, we danced through the pain. The pitch still remembers my name. Still blue through the silence and the roar. Still blue even when we don't score. I carry the soul of the shedding crew. You can't shake me, I'm still blue. Still here, still true. Woke up to the chance, paint cracked on my wall, but the pride in my heart never faded at all. Jersey frayed at the seams, but it still feels right. Been through darkest nights, still shining bright. We bled in the game, we rose with no shame. The bridge still whispers my name. Still blue, every tear and every cheer. Still blue, with my voice loud and clear. I carry the pride of the shedding crew. Win or lose, I'm still blue. From Drogba's fire to Reece's run, we stood tall under every sun. Through Abramovich nights to new days begun, this heart beats for only one. Still blue, even when they don't believe. Still blue, every year we grieve and dream. I carry the hope of the shedding crew, born for this, I'm still blue. Still blue. Still blue. Footsteps on Fulham Road, moonlight on my pride. Wore this badge through highs and lows, never had to hide. Memories in Stamford breeze echo through my chest. Not every win is sweet, but I gave my all, no less. We sang through the rain, we danced through the pain. The pitch still remembers my name. Still blue through the silence and the roar. Still blue even when we don't score. I carry the soul of the shedding crew. You can't shake me, I'm still blue. Still here, still true. Woke up to the chance, paint cracked on my wall, but the pride in my heart never faded at all. Jersey frayed at the seams, but it still feels right. Been through darkest nights, still shining bright. We bled in the game, we rose with no shame. The bridge still whispers my name. Still blue, every tear and every cheer. cheer. Still blue, with my voice loud and clear. I carry the pride of the shed and crew. Win or lose, I'm still blue. From Drogba's fire to Reece's run, we stood tall under every sun. Through Abramovich nights to new days begun, this heart beats for only one. Still blue, even when they don't believe. Still blue, every year we grieve and dream. I carry the hope of the shed and crew. Born for this, I'm still blue. Still blue. Footsteps on Fulham Road, moonlight on my pride. Wore this badge through highs and lows, never had to hide. Memories in Stamford breeze echo through my chest. Not every win is sweet, but I gave my all, no less. We sang through the rain, we danced through the pain. The pitch still remembers my name. Still blue, through the silence and the roar. Still blue, even when we don't score. I carry the soul of the shed and crew. You can't shake me, I'm still blue. Still here, still true. Woke up to the chance, paint cracked on my wall, but the pride in my heart never faded at all. Jersey frayed at the seams, but it still feels right. Been through darkest nights, still shining bright. We bled in the game, we rose with no shame. The bridge still whispers my name. Still blue, every tear and every cheer. Still blue, with my voice loud and clear. I carry the pride of the shed and crew. Win or lose, I'm still blue. From Drogba's fire to Reece's run, we stood tall under every sun. Through Abramovich nights to new days begun, this heart beats for only one. Still blue, even when they don't believe. Still blue, every year we grieve and dream. I carry the hope of the shed and crew. Born for this, I'm still blue. Still blue. Footsteps on Fulham Road, moonlight on my pride. Wore this badge through highs and lows, never had to hide. Memories in Stamford breeze echo through my chest. Not every win is sweet, but I gave my all, no less. We sang through the
Yes, good people, big up to all of you. Welcome back to Chelsea's Perspective. Welcome for another edition, you could argue, yeah, the news roundup show, and also Chelsea's strongest lineup exercise, where we have some fun trying to select the strongest 11 given us current squad. But more importantly, I do hope you're all doing well. But first, we'll start by going news hunting to see if anything new emerged. I get it, it's no longer the transfer window, but there are still stuff happening around that concerns our beloved club. So we'll go news hunting first, and hopefully some of the panelists will have the time to join me so you can get diversified opinion and not just listen to I alone waffle on the panel here. But that's by the way I do. More importantly, I do hope you're all doing well. So the title reads Chelsea's 2025-26 strongest 11. Palmer, Caicedo, James, Cucurella, and who else? Let me add maybe Enzo Fernandez to that list, then who else? But I think it's going to be fun. Hopefully, we'll have a lot of people join us. But if you're just joining, keep dropping the likes on the stream. The likes do go a long way. The more likes we're gonna, the more the YouTube algorithm will be triggered and be forced to push the stream to more people who'd be interested in the topics we have lined up. Once again, more importantly, I do hope you are all doing well. So let's go news hunting first and see if anything emerged. I'm quite sure nothing much. If anything, we'll be seeing a lot of commentaries or comments from players, post-game comments from our players, given our draw, 2-2 draw yesterday away against Brentford. So yeah, once again, welcome. News hunting. There you go. We're onto it. And Salmino missed Dortmund's game yesterday with a knock. And that's Vince's opinion, saying he hopes it's with a knock. So he's saying he hopes it's just a knock. I hope it's good. Again, he started very well for Dortmund. But yeah, I'm glad he's there on loan. He gets to play week in, week out, and come back a much better player. You could say ready for a place in the team. But I would have loved him to stay, but that's just my opinion anyway. The manager sees him on the training pitch week in, week out, and knows whether he's ready. Whether he's ready or not, and which is why then the decision to let him go out on loan simply means that yeah, he at the time wasn't ready to be a starter at Chelsea, and it's important that he keeps playing to continue developing. Let's see anything new here about Amorim. None of our business, not our cup of tea. Again, it's his, and I don't want a sip of it. Bruno Fernandes about Manchester United, not interested. Roy Keane is angry that no Manchester United player got a yellow card in the Manchester City derby. Okay, you could say which reflects a reflection of how committed they are, but it's not our business. So Gianfranco Zola, Chelsea legend, said Caicedo has grown up a lot. In the last year and a half, he's gotten better at finishing and also at, you could say, doing his job, reading the game. He reads the game much better than the previous than 2 seasons ago. You can say comes across as more polished than he was when he was still at Brighton. Anything else here? Okay, this is more of opinions here. Emmanuel Emera, the Strasbourg fans are unhappy because he's leaving. So, but let's just read this because it concerns us. He reads, "My problem." That's Vince's opinion, by the way. But I'll go. He's quoting something that Liam Rosenio said. That's a Strasbourg coach, the Englishman. I think it's Englishman. So this reads, "My problem with this is that Emera was one of Bluco's first signing for Strasbourg because Chelsea had been scouting him. He cost around 13 million euros, and at the time, Strasbourg were not in a position to spend that much money, but we did spend that money for them. Let's say that without Bluco, they wouldn't have signed Emera, whom they claim as theirs today. Of course, he's their player, but they quickly forget that Bluco is the reason they can dare to dream of signing this caliber of player. Yeah, I think it makes sense. So Liam here is saying, Liam Rosenia is saying on Strasbourg fans' treatment of Emera after announcement of his move to Chelsea. He says, give me a second, I need to open that. He says Emmanuel Emera was devastated, and so was I. I am very disappointed with what I saw. Seeing banners against one of the best players last season is unacceptable. My players deserve much more. They have an impeccable mindset and do not deserve this treatment. We are in a pivotal season in which we will play in the European Cup. Yeah, but it seems that a minority is not happy with these performances. It won't change anything at all because I remain very proud of my players, and Emmanuel Emera will remain captain as long as he is here. Okay, there. Let me not just use the language that isn't on the report there. And Emmanuel Emera will remain captain as long as he is there. It is still necessary to emphasize that this does not concern everyone but a minority. For me, I don't think it's good. Players come, players go, and in this case, a unique case to put it right, in my opinion, we signed him, and had it not been for their alliance with us, for lack of a more specific language or more accurate language or term, uh, I think they should be grateful. And as Vince did say, without us, I don't think they'd be able to sign him in the first place. So we signed him for them, and we won him. And it's not like we supplied them with a lot of good players, and I think that continues. And I think last season probably one of their best seasons ever, and yet the greed is showing. For me, I don't think that's okay, but again, it's a behavior of a typical fan. But Bobby, big up to you, and thank you for finding the time to join me on the panel. Let's hear your thoughts on what's going on, how the Strasbourg fans are treating Emmanuel Emera. For me, it's not okay.
How they're treating who?
Emmanuel Emera, the Dutchman we signed, but he will finish the season at Strasbourg. They're showing banners. You say they're not happy that he announced that he'd be joining Chelsea at the end of the season.
Well, these are some of the silly things that fans do.
Go ahead, Bobby.
You
I'll be
know,
back in a second. Go ahead.
Strasbourg failed to remember that they were a team heading down the tubes before Bluco came in. They're behaving as if they're this sort of proud club that have done this, that, and a third. They've done nothing. They were nothing. And now they have a lifeline to be something. Um, it's very disingenuous. It's very fan like. Okay. It's what I would choose to call foolish pride. You can show pride at a time where there is a justification behind it, but there's no justification in that sort of behavior from their fans. They're not exactly a Real Madrid or a Barcelona. They really don't have successful history, or a lot of football clubs have history, but they certainly don't have successful history. And Bluco has done them a big favor, so I don't understand this
I
attempt to
don't
keep it
understand. It's
straight.
it's a weird one. Look, I don't want to start bragging, but I think you could say we've made them popular, more popular than they were before the alliance. For lack of a more relatable or accurate language, I don't know what's the most accurate language. But they don't appreciate it. I don't think they've played in Europe before. If they have, I don't know. I don't know their history, but not in recent years, at least. Um,
Mhm.
I'm not sure how it's to put it, but it's not okay. I think probably, they're just taking their life, maybe the relationship for granted. I'm not sure how it's to phrase it, but the end we always supply them with good players, as we've done for the past 2 seasons or so. Or one again, how long? 2 seasons at least. I'm not sure why people are like that. But that's by the way, Bobby. Let's say anything else you want to talk about before we get to the lineup exercise. Chelsea's strongest 11. That's the title of this show, 25-26. But let's hear you anything that you want to talk about before we get to that.
To be honest, I can't give any attention to Strasbourg fans and their complaints. The club at Chelsea and Bluco have done a lot for them,
Mhm.
and it's just a waste of time with them. The strongest 11, that'll be interesting because I think I have quite a bit to say about the Chelsea squad and Maresca's talent for frustrating players. Um, but I'll allow you to introduce that topic.
No, no, go ahead. You can say whatever you want to say before we start the lineup. The exercise. Up to you.
I was listening to a podcast on X actually from a guy that I followed him. I told him to give me a follow back. I don't know whether he's one of those that become a bit too full of themselves and they think because people have shown interest in them, they can't follow you back. I'm kind of watching it. I'll be disappointed if he is, but he did come up with some very, very sensible commentary about the team selected by Maresca to play Brentford. Um, let's forget about the offside equalizer, which is another topic in itself. But Maresca, starting Fofana, a clearly rusty player that hasn't played football for over a year, and really is just about in his pre-season. Then you start him and put Josh Achipong on the bench. There's a game against Lincoln coming up that both people like Fafana, I'll put Heto in that black bracket, excuse me, and indeed Jamie Gittens can slowly start
Mhm.
getting runouts. You don't put a youngster, yes, we have a lot of youngsters, but at least a youngster like Josh, who shows he can make the gravy, he's not behind Fafana at this point in time, certainly not in defense. I have my theory that if you were going to do that, he should have been put in midfield to support Caicedo because of his height and physicality, and that would have prevented Chalobah having to step into midfield as often as he did, and wouldn't have left Tosin so exposed. Another point this guy made, which I fully um, agree, is that Chelsea squad depth is a myth. It's a complete myth. It's a joke. It
Can
doesn't
you
exist.
elaborate why you think the squad depth is a myth?
You know,
Is a
it
myth,
doesn't
like you
it
said.
doesn't exist. The drop
Why?
off,
Why doesn't it exist?
the
How
the
did it
dro-
drop off?
the drop off
Mhm.
between Pedro Neto and let's say who else would play when Esteval's on the right, Neto goes on the left, right? So
Mhm.
the drop off between Pedro Neto and Gittens, even Tyreek George, is humongous. There's no quality backup to quality. There's just kids and developing kids trying to make the grade. We've kind of gone past that. Yes, we've got kids, and yes, we play our kids, but the kids need to be good enough. Gittens is no. I saw Gittens in the flesh, and I knew this would happen. He's nowhere near ready. He's very lightweight. He's not. he needs to work on his game before he can do anything other than come off the bench. That's just the reality. Tyreek George at the moment is better than Gittins, but even he needs to work on his game. His physicality is poor, very poor, and he needs to work on that. At the moment, outside of Esteval, who, when he wasn't there, you could see the whole burden of the wing play falls on Neto. And he can, he's not a player that's not adverse to an injury or two along the line. It's just we've been very fortunate that he's kept going. Outside of Neto, there's nothing else on the wings. The striker situation, we know what's happening there. I'm not sure why Maresca felt it was important to not even have Mark Gui on the bench. I don't get that.
Yes,
Um,
listen, I did ask the same question and I got a
yeah.
response that made me think, look, he sees them week in, week out
Hmm.
on the training pitch. And the GUI, uh, you can say, judge, and because of GUI's loan move, cancelled loan move to, where was it?
Sunderland.
Sunderland, led to him missing a few training sessions with the manager, and the manager likes also he as much as he likes Mark Gee, he also does like he likes what's his name Tariq just very well, and he sees him as a number nine, not a traditional number nine, as a hybrid number nine. He's able to fulfill that role, especially if we're playing against teams that defend deep, where it's not about muscle, it's about finding a way to navigate the tight spaces and all that. So that led to me, you can say, taking a step back and then look at the situation and feel, okay, maybe, but I did question why he wasn't in the squad. If because he told us during his presser that he's the only number nine that's available right now, so it just didn't make sense to me at first why he left him out. But after thinking about it, he sees them on the training pitch. He's made this decision, but I don't like him coming out to say he had to drop one person. Maybe we misinterpret. Again, maybe we don't. It's a language thing, language maybe issue, because to my understanding, he said something to the effect of he had to drop one player and he decided to drop Maggie and give Tariq Judge more minutes. I don't know. Maybe his sister Tariq has a much better player of the two, and definitely down to the approach or the team we're playing against. That's
Well,
how I see it.
just like I said on Tobago's stream on the post match, we're down
Mhm.
to if, buts, and maybes. Tyreek George has never been a decent enough striker. He's barely able to hold his own on the wings, not to mention playing as a centre forward. That is absolutely ridiculous.
Mhm.
And if that's how Maresca thinks, then he has issues and faults, which would mean he's not really heading for a very successful tenure. You can't use Tyreek George as a striker. That's ridiculous.
Here's the thing.
It
It
makes
depends
no
on the
sense.
approach.
Doesn't
Every
matter the
player.
approach.
Here's the thing. Let me explain something. Even what's his name, Cole Palmer can operate as a false nine, where he's just there to occupy the position, but applies himself as a 10. Just what we need is you could say to have more numbers to edge the opposition in terms of numbers in any given again at any given point to be able to beat them, especially if we're playing against teams that defend deep. I don't know if you get my point. So I don't think. Here's the thing. I wasn't happy when I read his comment online. Then I realized I'm not the manager, and I don't see them on the training pitch, and I don't think it's correct to say that he's going to fill if he sees Tariq as a number nine. We don't see them on the training pitch.
Coach,
And it has worked before
coach,
against Fulham away last season.
he
He played as
hasn't.
a number nine. You could argue
No,
he
he
was the
didn't.
reason why we actually won that game. We got an equalizer
From
from his
him,
goal.
yes, but
Yeah,
he,
exactly. So
coach,
here's the thing. I wasn't
coach.
happy. But honestly, emotions were running high at the time. I took my time to look at it again and realize, look, this guy he's given me more than enough reasons to trust him. why question his decisions? Because
Coach.
had we, the truth
Look,
remains,
let me
the truth
talk. Let me
remains,
respond because you're
yeah,
not even
just one
letting me
second,
say
Bobby.
anything.
And the truth remains, had we won that game, a lot of the discourse, you can say a lot of the issues people are highlighting and discussing right now, I don't
Mm.
think they'd be doing so. And we had,
Coach.
you could say, up to three excellent opportunities to put that game away. And and surprisingly, our best player, one of the best finishers we have, didn't take those chances. So it's one of those games, and we haven't lost any games. So it's not the end of the world. And I like Maresca because he learns really quick. But go ahead, let's hear you.
I responded to that statement you made on X.
Mm,
That's with all due respect, is a pointless statement. Had
okay.
we won that game, the truth of the matter is that we hadn't won that
No,
game,
we didn't. Yeah,
and we
but I'm
didn't
I'm,
win
saying-
that
I'm okay.
game
Go ahead. Go ahead.
because of the faults that people pointed out. You can say, oh, he should have started with his first team in the first half and yada, yada, yada. The truth of the matter is we need to be able to rotate and rest players.
More
But we are
importantly, yeah,
showing
yeah.
that we cannot do that and win games. You can't do it's like without Reece James, nothing happens. Without Cole Palmer, nothing happens. Without Cucurella, nothing happens. So where's the respite?
He-
This
he-
is a let
mhm,
me land let me
mhm.
just this is a massive season with a whole load of games. We can't be doing this. We have Tyreek George, who, I don't care what you say, he is never anywhere near a number 9. Jamie Gittens is never anywhere near a starting player. Barnoto, well, whatever he is, I don't even know what he is. He shouldn't even be on the pitch, if you ask me. Garnacho, well, the jury's still out. He didn't impress me. I don't know where people are getting all this. Oh, Garnacho made the goal for Caicedo. He did not. He cut back to the opponent who deflected the ball to Caicedo. It was all about Caicedo. So this is all fantasy island. We're creating a fantasy. Now, is Maresca a bad coach? No, he's not. But he's got to take responsibility sometimes for some of the stupid decisions he makes sometimes, not
Give me,
all the
Bobby. Give
time.
me one example of a
Perfect
stupid decision.
example.
Yeah.
Why play Brentford and bench Josh Achipong? It makes no sense. Fofana is unfit. That was not a game for him. He's totally unfit. And if you insist on playing him, then put Achipong in midfield to help strengthen that
What if
midfield.
his plan is, again, if you see Archibald start against Bayern, and yeah, what if
Start
that, yeah,
against
exactly,
Bayern for what purpose? When you have
because he's a
Gusto
Chelsea
there,
player. The same
you have
purpose you're
Gusto.
arguing, the same purpose you're questioning the manager's decision not to start him against Brentford is the
He
same.
was
Yeah, what
he
if he
was
starts against
rest.
Bayern? Then he'd beat because he
He
had to
was
rest him because he wants him to start against Bayern. So
well,
I think we should
maybe that's
respect the
the
manager's
case, but
decision. But go ahead, go
I
ahead.
don't think that a game of that level of magnitude that he should be thrust into it as a starter when you have people like Gusto and you have people like Reece James there. Is that even fair on him? A game like Brentford would be a much better game to put him as a starter. These are things. Look, Maresca is not infallible. We have to we'll stop this. Yes, he's won 2 trophies. Yes, he did some masterful tactical decisions towards the end of the season, but he also dropped some clangers. He does this. What he did with Jao Felix and Nkunku by not playing them or rotating them with Palmer correctly at the earlier part of the season, I think demoralized them. He has a part to play in that. Is it the end of the world? Probably not. But as I said on Tobago's stream, you cannot ignore our rivals. You look at Man City today in the Manchester Derby. You look at Liverpool. You look at Arsenal, even Tottenham, even Man United that we're playing next. The level of physicality these teams have, we are miles away from it.
Where do we
We
like that
cannot
physicality
ignore
you're
it.
saying, Bobby? Where in what areas do we like? Here's the thing, Bobby. I'm gonna
We
say
have
this. I
we
hope you don't
we
take it personal.
you
I
see,
think you just don't like the makeup of our squad in terms of the beauty of the players. That
yes,
subconsciously drives your
the
opinion of the
look,
players.
as
Yeah.
I said on that platform, coach,
Hmm.
I've watched Chelsea for over 50 years. I've seen it all. I understand top flight English football. I've been there. I've watched these players in the flesh for decades. And I'll tell you that there's a very simple formula to the Premier League that goes decade after decade after decade. It's not complicated.
Okay. What
Win
that,
win
I
the
know. I know.
physical
I'm asking
battle.
you what areas. What areas on the pitch
Okay,
do we
let
have
me
that
answer it.
lack of
Let me
physicality
answer it.
issues? Yeah.
Let me answer it just as I did on that platform on Saturday. Was it Saturday?
Hmm.
I said if you're making a good Irish stew or a good Hungarian goulash, you have to have the right ingredients. A little bit of this, you have a bit of pepper, you have a bit of paprika, you have a bit of onions here and there. You mix it and you cook it and you make a perfect blend. What we have at in our team is a lot of disjointedness.
Can you
We
name
had
one player
too
that is
many
no? I think the
in
topic is
in the
physicality, right? Can
it
we
is
address the
physicality. I'm
players
coming to it.
individually? Which of
I'm
our players
coming
do
to
you
it.
think isn't physical enough for the Premier
I'm
League?
I'm
Let's
coming
get them
to it.
one by one.
When we have the wings, right?
Uh
We
huh.
played starting Jao Pedro in the center. Okay, he's very good at heading the ball. The wing Gittins forget heading the ball. Neto, fantastic ball winner, strong, but forget heading the ball. So then we had Jao Pedro already outnumbered against two 6'5", 6'6" centre backs. He had no chance on his own. The midfield, yes, Caicedo, best defensive midfielder in the world. Enzo Fernandez, his form is still not back. He's not there. Then they put what's his name, Bonote. All of them short. I made the reference to when Chelsea had Matic, Fabregas, and Kante, all of them excellent players on their own, but they could not play Matic, they could not play Fabregas and Kante together because of their size.
So you're saying
Matic
okay,
always had to be there
okay.
for
Let's
for them
assume
to
you're
be
correct. You're
effective.
saying we're not physical enough, and for that reason, we're not going to do well this season.
I'm saying that he's making, well, he made decisions against Brentford that exposed our lack of height and strength in depth. He exposed us, and I knew at the beginning of that game that Brentford will say, "Wow, this is Chelsea. They're better than us." But let's look for their weaknesses, and the weakness every of these teams come up with is physicality. Crystal Palace has tried it. They were bullying, trying to bully us, and that, who else? Even West Ham tried it. Everybody tries it because Fulham did it quite successfully, and now Brentford have done
Okay.
it, even though the goal was disallowed. A lot of ball in the air. We're struggling. They were doing high throw-ons. We're struggling. Why? Physicality. We don't have enough balance. Now you look at all these other teams. Yes, they're not all land of the giants, but they have a great mix. Look at Man City, Pep Guardiola, the king of tiki taka. What has he done with Man City this season? He's put physicality and height all the way down the spine. That was how they intimidated Man United. Even though Man United had a fair number of the ball, they intimidated them with sheer physicality. And United themselves are not exactly slouches, although their midfield was exposed because they don't have physicality. And I'm worried because Chelsea, being what they are, they go up there, they just shore up the midfield with physicality, and of course, using your terms, what's that thing you like to call Chelsea? Charity FC will give Amarin a lifeline. You see, this is the thing that frustrates me. You have to understand that the first thing you need to do to win is in the Premier League is to win the physical battle. And I know you want to come in, but let me refer you
No,
to one
I'm
more
waiting for this.
example.
I'm waiting for you. Yeah.
The big example I always give people, we go back to that 2005 season when we won the league again after 55 years or something like that, 50 years. And that battle at Ewood Park, when we knew, right, we've got this. The Battle of Ewood Park, Blackburn were a very physical, vicious size, managed by Mark Hughes, who goes for the jugular when he plays, and he had his guy McQuena kicking everybody on the field to the point that he broke the foot of Iron Robin. But the Chelsea players, your Lampards, your Terrys, your even your Cavallios, all these guys stood strong. They won the physical battle at the end, when they took off their shirts and threw it into the crowd after that 1-0 win, it was a battle that gave them the right to win. That is typical Premier League football. If you don't do that, you're not winning a damn thing as far as the Premier League is concerned. Every single team, apart from the fact that you also have to not have too many injuries, which messes you up in a season, but every single team that has won the Premier League has won the physical battle in games that they may not necessarily be the best, but they get through on physicality. Tottenham did it last on over the weekend. Arsenal did it over the weekend. I can't stand them, but Liverpool did it today. Man City did it today. Where was Chelsea? Pampering about with weaklings and little players, too many in a team. Well, let's hope we
Listen,
learn from this. But losing 2 points, coach, in a league like this can make the difference between being even top four. Let's not even talk about winning the league.
but the lack
Every
of
point, you shouldn't
physicality
throw
wasn't the
away
reason
points.
why that game ended in a draw, Bobby.
I
If you're
think it
saying
was.
height, if you say maybe we
I
don't
think
have enough top players, then
I
maybe
think
I'd listen to that one. But it wasn't a
I, I
nest.
think
I
it was.
wasn't down to the lack of physicality. But go
I,
ahead,
I
what you're saying.
I think it was. We opened them up enough and crossed enough balls into the box for people to head in, but we didn't have them. There was a ball that came towards Gittens, really. It was easily nodded out by Brentford defenders. Then one came towards João Pedro. He was crowded out by them because he's there alone. The second ball, nobody was there to meet it because they were all too tiny. Buonanotte, goodness knows what he was doing when that second ball came. It hit the ground and bounced over his head. You can't do this. You can't drop careless points. That's
So
my point.
okay, let's. I understand what you're saying. Let me ask you this question. The game ended in a 2-2 draw, which I don't agree that physicality was the reason why we didn't win that game.
Mm.
If you're saying lack of height, more you could say taller players, so then I start listening to you. In all
Okay,
honesty,
let me show
I
you
understand your
where.
point, Bobby. Let me say this:
Let
we
me show
are
you where
not the most physical
physicality,
team in the league. We're
which
not
is
the
which is.
least. We're not wimps. And
Oh,
I don't think because of
we
the
were
not the,
wimps against
we can
Brentford.
have Bobby, we can have all her hog maybe Andre the Giant in every position to do well.
No, but
I totally do understand your point. But go ahead
you
with
have
what you were saying.
strong men. Now, to be fair, in every game we have not been wimps. People came to try and bully us, and we stood our own very well. Palace did it, we stood our own. West Ham tried it. Well, Delap was around, then, and they didn't succeed. Um, who else? Fulham tried it. They didn't really succeed. And then we got to Brentford, and we made it worse. You don't have Delap. I don't know. They took away Gui, who at least is a fighter. Then they put a lot of weak players. And let me tell you, even if that goal, the equalizing goal, was indeed offside, as it was offside, let's just keep it real. But
No,
the way
definitely an offside if we're going
the,
by the rules.
it certainly was, but the way Garnacho lost his man, that is weak physicality. A strong winger would have put his body in the way, clashed bodies with that
In the
player,
manner
and he
again,
wouldn't have got the ball.
he lost him. They didn't even compete. He lost him.
Well, there you go.
He was ball watching when
There
the
you
guy he
go.
was supposed to be marking went for the ball. So for me, that aspect, not even about physicality. I'm going to blame our defenders because Tosin, for me, I think he should have done better. Even
I've heard
Chaba, the
I've
three
heard
of
a lot
them
about
were
Tosin.
around the single player. But in the case of Ganacho, I'm not going to even blame him. He lost his man but not down to physicality. It was down to him ball watching. His man left him,
Yeah.
and he was watching him go kick the ball inside the net.
I, I've heard a lot on X about Tosin, and I don't agree. You see, this is the thing. This is where you put your centre backs under pressure because they don't have support. Tosin and Chalaba were crowding out who they thought was the aerial
Which is wrong.
threat.
Which is wrong. Which they have to spread
Well,
out.
six of one, half a dozen of the other. You have other players there. You've got people on your left back and on your right back positions who should be doing something. Now, when João Pedro was on the pitch, if you remember against Fulham, he was the one that dropped to the left post and cleared the ball off the line. We didn't have that when he came off. We just had weaklings. We just had, so it was two strong guys, and on the flanks, nothing to support them. You can't play football like that in the Premier League. That's my point. You have
But
to work as a team and fight as a team, not one or two players doing all the fight. That's not going to work.
here's my point, Bobby. I'll still go back. Going back to that goal, from my observation, I'll watch it again. Before I get to blaming Ganacho, I'm sticking with blaming the defenders. What are they? All of them. It's like they're all focused on a single player, not even spread out in case the first person misses it and be a second person to do something. They defended like primary school kids there.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying before I get to Ganacho, I don't think I'll even get to him. I get it. He lost his man. But I'm sticking with the defenders. They should spread out in the first place.
Yeah. So everything
But
goes down,
they
down to
defended,
the
they
two
followed
centre
the
backs.
ball like primary school kids would. And yeah, that guy got the chance. You could argue it was by design because of they were marking or so, because I don't think that was no marking. I'll look at it again. So they dragged them forward, knowing they had, again, I think it was by design. They knew that our defenders would follow them that way. So they dragged them to that first bar, or I don't know what the correct term to use for it. And then now leaving space behind.
Yeah.
And Garnacho, for me,
Exploiting.
I'm not going to blame him. He lost his man. He should have done better. But I'm sticking with defenders not,
Ex-
you can say, organizing
exploiting.
themselves properly.
You see, when you have a weakness, the opposition in this league will exploit it. They saw the two centre backs were the only people with the height and physicality to do anything, so they decoyed them. Maybe, you're right. And then the others were found heavily, heavily wanting. Why? No height, no physicality. It's just a pointless exercise. Where was Tyreek George? Nowhere. Where was Garnacho? Nowhere. They don't have that in them. I don't blame them, just like you. They don't have it in them. I blame the squad selectors. They
Okay.
shouldn't be anywhere near coming on and having that level of responsibility. And if that's who we're going to be relying on going forward, I have deep concerns. All we have at the moment really is a first 11. We don't have squad depth. Yet again, we're not ready for the season.
All right. I'll leave your opinion to you. And mine is that we have a squad depth, which is the newcomers just need a little bit of time. I think we'll get there. And here's the
Nobody
thing.
has
Let me
time
tell
in
you
this
where
league,
Maresca
too.
made a mistake,
There's
in
no
my
time.
opinion. Let me tell you where he made a mistake.
Mm.
I knew he was going to rotate because the games are coming in thick and fast. I think we play every 4 days.
Yep,
And it will be like that until October
yep,
4th.
yep,
Now, I think the biggest mistake was to have two newcomers. Actually, you could argue four newcomers in total,
yep,
because I count Fofana as a newcomer.
yeah. Heto,
But
Fofana,
having
Bonate,
two
Gittins.
newcomers such as again, what's his name? Gittins and Hato on the pitch on the same side, on the left hand side to be more specific,
Yep,
was always going to cause an issue.
yep.
And if you look at the ratings of the players, it's the same thing. So go ahead, Bobby, I'll let you drop. We'll catch up with what we have in the chat, then we get to selecting our strongest 11. Go ahead.
Well, what's done is done. But the truth of the matter is that in this league, you can't do this. You can't keep saying, oh, let's learn from this. Oh, it's not the end of the day. No, other teams are picking vital points. This matters. We've already now gone 4 points behind, is it Liverpool at the top? Yes, you're a point behind Arsenal and Tottenham and whatever. But this is not something, it's not something that you allowed to happen if you have any serious designs of maintaining top four. And it is top four this season, not top five. So you can't do this. You can't waste opportunities against somewhat lesser teams. And what we have done is waste an opportunity because I can assure you, at Old Trafford, Man United are going to come out smoking. They always do against us. And we've just wasted 3 points. If you go there and get a point, then okay, I wouldn't really um, feel it is that bad. But you go to Brentford, who were there for the taking, and you drop 2 points. It's not acceptable. I don't think it is. But it's done, and we just have to live with it. But it's not acceptable. And Maresca, I think, was more to blame for his squad selection than anything else.
He had to rotate. I agree, but
Yes,
I
he did,
wouldn't
but he
have
didn't
risked.
rotate correctly.
Sorry.
He didn't rotate
No,
correctly.
yeah, starting two newcomers on the left hand side was a huge mistake. And Fafana, I still see him as a newcomer, and plus he doesn't. Again, he still plays. Again, he still comes across as raw, which I don't
Yeah,
blame him. I've explained that 1,000 times
yeah, his development
because
has been stunted by his
yeah,
injuries.
by the injuries. Yeah, uh, so he still needs to play a lot more to become polished and maybe reach his potentials. Come on, guys. The
Just few
season
seconds.
is
I need
just starting, and here's the thing. School fees. Here's something I want to tell you. People have again the fans have every right to be concerned, and that's why we have shows like this to discuss our observations from our last games and something like that. Yeah, big up to you too. Nice to see you, Vic. I do hope you're doing well. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show. So he's telling me here, um, Coach Bobby is making a lot of valid points, and he is killing you. Reason with him. No, we're having a good conversation. If I agree with him, it won't be fun. And I don't want to agree with Bobby, but he's my bro anyway. We are unlikely to beat Bayern or United, and that's when the reality will set in for a lot of our fans. I don't think so. I think one will be a draw. This is just me, you can say, driven by my, you can say, belief, not numbers, nothing scientific about it. I think one will be a draw, one will be a win. Which ones? I don't know. And I'll say something I've already said before. I'm usually not concerned when we're playing teams that will come at us. I'm only usually not again concerned when we play teams that defend deep. More, you can say, more pragmatic sides that, yeah, it to them it doesn't have to be fancy. They just want to beat you. That's when I get concerned. But I think at some point, probably before, you could say the 6, 7 games, I think will be very, very ready to even
Sorry,
you
I
could
had to
say,
go and get some water to drink. Yeah,
okay, okay, which will be very, very ready to navigate such teams. Look, I
coach,
understand. Yeah,
coach. You know what? Every season we can't keep saying, "Oh, let's wait until this and time." Time waits for no one. Other teams don't wait for you. Let me tell you what. Every team, even watch Bayern. Bayern will look at the videos of Chelsea and say, okay, we know how to get this lot. We just bully them. Everybody, the word is out there. Bully Chelsea and you're going to have your
I
way.
don't think Bayern can bully us.
Okay,
No, I don't think they
let's see.
can. I don't think they can. Here's the thing. Bobby, I understand your point, and I'm going to say this again: we're not the most physical team in the Premier League, but we can be physical. We're not wimps. You could argue we're in between. We're not the tallest. Even at that, you still cannot bully us.
There's a difference between physical and being stupid and getting a red card, like Jackson was doing.
That's
You
that's
know,
he doesn't know. He has. You could say he has. You could say he's built in a manner that again, if he learns how to be physical the right way, he'd be very difficult to contain.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but again, in the process of trying to prove prove tough and aggressive, he on 2 occasions, yeah, he got unnecessary red cards. So, but that's by
And
the way,
he knows us, and other teams they see us and they laugh. What's this team that always has injuries? We still have players that haven't played for 2 years. Lavia, if he comes back, it's another wait and see situation.
a part-time
Oh,
worker.
Oh, he's got to get fit, and we're too flooded with that. Badiashile, nobody knows where he is. He may as well not even be there, to be honest. We've got too much of that, and nobody else has that. No other top flight team has that, and that in itself is a weakness that we don't seem to have learnt from. I don't understand why we get players 2 or 3 games into the season pulling up with hamstrings. If you feel that you had a long summer and it'll affect the players, then that's where you rotate. Okay, you give this guy half an hour and take him off. You don't play him to injury and then start wondering what you're going to do. Bring back Mark Gui, tell Jackson he should go, and then halfway there he's got to come back, and all this chaotic stuff. It's not acceptable really. But somehow it's not over. We can get out of it. But why create the problem in the first place? We've got enough to do by beating teams around us without making it harder with stupid decisions. Um, we're not organized. Look at the Liverpool's, Arsenal's, they're settled. Even Tottenham, you've got to say they're settled.
Bobby, Liverpool
Ready.
unsettled. Liverpool have a lot of
Okay.
new players. It was evident today they were actually lucky to get that penalty that helped them win. I get it. They have excellent players, one costing 500 million, 700 million, 800, 900, whatever. When you make that many changes, almost always a problem. They need time to start performing as a unit. They still have
Well,
that issue. And I told people, but
it's a
here's the
nice
thing.
problem when
They've
you're
been
winning
lucky
while
enough, you could
it's
argue,
happening.
they've been lucky enough, they've been getting the wins. So
Yeah,
probably it will end up not becoming so much of an issue for them because by the time 6th, 7th, 10th game, they probably start gelling properly.
exactly. You get the points
But
before you do.
you could argue the same thing
You
for
don't.
us, in all
We're
honesty.
throwing away the points. We threw away the points at Brentford. Honestly, for me, there is absolutely no question about it. Forget about the fact that Cole Palmer could have scored another, nearly scored. I think we wasted the points from our attitude in the first half. That was a stupid attitude because they were waiting. Brentford was just there to pick the ball out the back of the net and see if they can get a break. They were already defeated, but when they saw these chumps had come and were messing about, they thought, okay, let's slap them up, and that's what happened.
All right. All right, let's give the microphone back to those in the channel. Come back to the panel, so maybe we'll get to the exercise. But we have a very tight schedule this window, and I trust Maresca to handle the rotation properly. And if anything, I'm gonna say something I've already said. Um, he is a quick learner, and probably he did say something to suggest, yeah, he's not going to risk such next time. And I trust him. Honestly, he's done enough to earn my trust, even before winning the Club World Cup, even before we winning the Conference League, before we finished fourth. I have always trusted him because I was able to look beyond the noise and pay attention to what he was doing. I was one of those that argued, no, we don't he's not a one trick pony like a lot of people argued at the time that he was. But that's by the way. I understand your point. I think uh added height, more importantly, and physicality, again, in the Premier League, both factors do go a long way in the Premier League. But I don't think I don't think it's that much of an issue for us, in my opinion. We unlikely, and listen, I'm quite sure you said such before we met. But when you heard that we'd be playing PSG in the final of the Club World Cup, I'm quite sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. You were one of those that didn't believe we
I I
not you. I'm talking about Vic, not you, Bobby.
all right, because I never made a point
No, no,
about.
no. I know you always give Chelsea a chance. When you usually lose your mind is when we play and play badly, or if we don't win. I know you that well. So Vic is saying we are unlikely to beat them, and I'm quite sure you were one of those that probably said PSG will mop the stadium carpet with us. I'm not reading that one. Just go away, Vic. Let's see. Not marking at the back post was a crime. Hallelujah. You agree with me today? I wish, I wish in heaven that that you you're allowed to get some references. For this reason alone, I agree to be one of your references. Yeah. So, and I don't blame Ganacho for that. That's where Bobby, I understand height always almost an issue in the Premier League, especially. But the fact that we had no defender marking that area, for me, an issue. I blame the players and Bernardo Cuevas for that one. He was losing his SHIT, as Bobby would like to put it, when we considered that goal, because probably that was a part of the plan. As I've said before, we defended like primary school kids. We followed them. They baited us and we fell for it. We didn't resist the bait. Yeah. So we fell for it. And which was why that guy was left alone there. And if we had another defender there marking that, he'd clear it off the line. And Cucurella usually does that. All right, but that's, by the way, a good point right there. I'm not gonna blame Mr. Cueva. We have too many nice players. We need Son. Wow, dang it. Where the Max 77, nice to see you. I
We
hope
need
you're
who?
doing well. Sorry,
We need who?
I'm not sure I understand that.
You're saying we have too many nice players. We need
Son, maybe I'm not sure.
some.
Four players. Yeah, we need Son. So I'm not sure how to interpret that. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. If he rephrases it, then maybe we'll look at it. Four players glued together still cannot get the ball, and Cucurella is supposed to be, yeah, exactly, at the back post. What's he doing at the front post? So it was just, you could say that's a second goal. I think you could argue we knew at the time that it was just a few minutes before the end of the game, and you could argue that led to an added pressure, which in turn led to the players becoming nervy at that time. Because usually, what we do in such situation, we keep the ball on the carpet, but we were nervous. The nervousness did show at that time. Real James, nice to see you, Adi. Hope you're doing well. Good evening to you too. Thank you for joining the conversation. Why don't we use Santos? I don't know. You don't know the manager's plan because he traveled quite some distance actually. And maybe he plays on. Maybe he's gonna play on again on Wednesday against Bayern. So here's the thing. I don't want to go back to that game. Rotation was necessary, but probably the wrong way. Had too many new players on the pitch, in my opinion. If I were Maresca, I'd just make a few changes here and there. At the same time, yeah, we've not been lucky with injuries. So let's see what happens. It's not the end of the world, and my hope is, again, I trust him. I believe he's a quick learner. I believe he'd learn from the mistakes he made on that day. And by the way, we have in total 60 people following the show, only 28 on YouTube, but just 5 likes. That's not okay. And I'm quite sure we have more than 5 people in the chat. Live chat session. Please, if you haven't, take a second, drop a like on the video, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And I think on vertical streams, you can just double tap the screen to drop a like, or maybe, but press and hold the screen for just about a second, then you see the option to like, comment, and share the video. Please, if you haven't, take a second to drop a like on the video to help us garner more likes. Maresca made a series of mistakes, including 3 or 4 wrong starting players, so he left himself scrambling to fix it. He will step up. I think he will step up. Here's the thing, Bobby, something I want to say about him quickly. I've never seen him repeat his mistakes. He has on some, again, he doesn't repeat mistakes too many times. I think that'd be the most accurate way to phrase it. I think I've seen him repeat certain mistakes, but he usually don't repeat such huge mistakes that led to us not winning that game. And I like him for that. Season just started. No need for that many people being rotated. Um, yeah, you have to pay attention. Let's just look at it quickly. How many games we have? I think he had to, but probably the wrong players. Too many, again, wrong players on the pitch, and especially having two newcomers on the left hand side. Given the fact that again his approach is, would it be correct to say intricate? A lot of, you could say, a lot of stuff, and I don't think it wasn't that fair for the newcomers. Let's look at our, is it Chelsea here? Let's look at our fixtures. Let's see here. Fixtures here.
They're not easy. I think away
Yeah.
Bayern, away Man United.
Even in that, you're talking about again the you can say the difficulty of the games. But
Hmm.
we played Brentford. That was yesterday, right?
Yes.
Then that was on the 13th. Then on the 17th, in 4 days' time, we'll be at the Allianz Arena playing against Bayern in the Champions League. Then after that, in 3 days' time, we'll be at home. We'll be away to Manchester United. Then after that, the club game, I think that gives them, in all fairness, that gives them the opportunity. Truthful, again, to be truthful, that gives them an opportunity to rest some of the starting players and give again the fringe players an opportunity to express themselves or maybe show they can be part of the starting 11. Then in 4 days we play Brighton away. After that, in 3 days we play Brighton at home. In 3 days we play Benfica at home. Then after that, October 4th, we play Liverpool at home. So the games are chained, I think, at most 4 days. So he had to rotate, but probably did it the wrong way. That's just that rotation. A lot of people probably don't know that we have this many games, or we play this many games in 10 days. You know, if we play this again, we'll be playing like, let's say, every 4 days we'll be playing one game. Again, we'll be playing every 4 days, and those games are all very difficult games, except for the games against Lincoln in the EFL Cup. What is this rotation you keep on referring to? Just accept a poor squad selection. We can win both matches. Forget your superstition. Nwirigi, I hope I pronounced your last name correctly, Mr. Godfrey. I haven't looked at the numbers. I just said I think I believe we'll draw one and win one. Maybe the numbers will say. I think if we look at the numbers, probably numbers will say Bayern will mop the Allianz Arena carpet with us. But that's usually the sort of games I like because they will come at us, which will allow us, you could argue, the independence or maybe the freedom to operate the way we like to operate. And the good thing, the manager, he changes things around depending on the opposition. The team needs chemistry for rotation. Yeah, this early, it does. Yeah. Remember when he started rotating last season, it didn't really work, but at some point it picked up. The players, whoever comes on, does it did at the time, whoever did come on at the time did get the chance to play, maybe did a very good job, which was why we did well in the Premier League and also got to the final of the Conference League and won it. But in the final, we did use the big guns, to be honest. There, a draw and a win, I will remind me honestly, I don't think we'll lose one of them. Again, driven by my belief, not numbers, nothing scientific there. Bayern don't need to bully us. They are too good for us. Okay. What's your name? Weather Max is 77. And you sounded like one of those also that didn't believe again with beat PSG, and we did. But it's okay. You're entitled to your opinion. And Wycliffe Baruchia says we will always have games like Burnley, and when we lose or draw such games, there will always be criticisms. The truth of the matter is that we cannot win them all. Not even Liverpool, Arsenal, and City can. Liverpool nearly dropped 2 points today. Yeah. Maresca should have assigned Hincapi on loan. I would have loved that. Why we didn't go for him, I didn't know, but I'm quite sure he agreed to that decision. Yeah. Guehi, since the build up, again, is so crucial for his tactics, but he will figure it out. Yeah, I think we'll be all right. Honestly, I think we'll be all right. Um, Chumps. All right, I'm gonna scroll to the very bottom, and then if Bobby has anything else to say, we'll hear, listen to him, and then get to selecting our strongest 11.
You know, sometimes football is just a very simple game.
Yeah.
You can complicate it by trying to be too clever. As I keep saying time and time and time and time again,
Mhm.
the Premier League is for those that win the battle on the pitch. Win the battle on the pitch, win the right to play, and you will get the big prizes. But get in there, start trying to be clever, start trying to play children that are not quite yet ready or half injured players and underestimating people like Brentford and so on, and you will drop stupid points. It's very unforgiving in that way. And that's why I just didn't find what happened against Brentford as acceptable at all. And I don't think our squad depth is acceptable. I really don't. I think we are really, really wanting and relying on players who have not played football for more than a year to just suddenly come in and you expect them to be ripping up trees. It's so unrealistic. Um, our injuries has been a problem for 2 seasons, and if we allow it to be a problem for the third season, then you have to start looking at management. I don't care what anybody says. You know, football is a continuous program. You don't just win one season and then bask in that glory to take you into the next season. You won and it's done. Serial winners don't look back, they keep looking forward. And what we need to do is look forward. I'm concerned about what I saw at Brentford. And I hope you're right. I hope he does fix it. But I have concerns about our wings. I really do. Without Esteval and Neto being fit, we have nothing. I don't trust Garnacho. I don't know why we got him. You know, people are just, as far as I'm concerned, are living in hope. I saw nothing on Saturday that convinced me about him. Nothing at all. Buonanotte, I think, is a joke. You know, you've got this little guy doing absolutely nothing in the middle of the pitch. He was there as a replacement to Cole Palmer. It was ridiculous. He's nowhere near that, and that's what concerns me. Our squad depth is not quality enough.
Again, you know my opinion on that, but I totally understand where you're coming from, and you are entitled to your opinion. And you could argue, definitely driven by, yeah, you're not happy with the squad. And I can't say that enough. I know you too well to know what drives that particular opinion of yours. But that's by the way, Bobby. So let's get on to selecting Chelsea's strongest 11 for 25-26 season. The goalkeeping between the sticks, definitely Robert Sanchez. Even though I like Philip Jorgensen and more comfortable on the ball, but at the moment, Robert Sanchez is proven to be, you could say, the better shot stopper of the two players. Of the two players, and they say goalkeepers age like fine wine, and I think he's gotten better. And you could argue, had it not been for his brilliance between the sticks, we'd be discussing a loss right now. But a lot of people still haven't come around to accepting that he's actually an excellent goalkeeper, better than a lot of people would like to admit. But let's say between the sticks for me, I think for our strongest 11 at the moment, I think it'd be him. Yeah, and it'd be interesting to see whether, and that for me, I if you asked me a few months ago, I tell you that I don't see that I don't see that happening. But Bobby, let's hear you between the sticks. Our strongest 11. definitely um, Robert Sanchez.
Yeah, I have to go with Sanchez. I don't buy this propaganda against him. I thought Sanchez actually saved us a lot against Brentford. He was collecting balls from the air. He saved a few certain goal bound shots. Yes, he looks a bit delicate sometimes, but which goalkeeper doesn't? When you don't have enough defensive cover, you're going to be exposed. So for me, definitely our best goalkeeper has got to be Robert Sanchez.
No question. No question. And if you're in the chat, your opinion, I think for the goalkeeper between the six, I think if we put up a poll now, I do believe 90% plus will still select Sanchez as the starting goalkeeper. Felix Jorgensen will get his chance. He did well for us in Europe, and in that final against um, what's that man, former Manchester City manager, uh was it Betis? Real Betis. He was excellent, did well, and had it not been for his brilliance between the sticks on that day, with again, we could have finished that half two goals down, but he did well. So, but still, even at that, Sanchez for me the still again should be the starting goalkeeper, the best we have given what we have. Maybe Jorgensen will eventually get there, but yeah. So Bobby, let's start with with the more, you can say, difficult aspect of the back four here. I know this, we call this the starting structure because the application almost always different. The two center backs are for you. Let's hear you, or let's start with left center back. Did I lose you, Bobby, or did you doze off?
Sorry, I
Okay,
didn't unmute. What centre backs?
yeah, let's hear you.
Yeah, I mean our centre back two has to be Tosin and Chalobah.
No,
No,
even let's again. I get it. Levi Cowell is injured. Will he even? When is he? When is the again? Did anybody on his
no, forget
possible
the
return
season.
date?
Forget the season.
Forget this season. So yeah,
Yeah,
okay, okay. So let's say you said Tosin and who?
Chalobah. It has to be. I think that's more or less all we've got.
Okay, let's go one by one. Maybe we'll use a poll to get. Let's go with left center back. You think who on the left?
Either or, it depends. They can both do a job there. But we have to look at those. Well, okay, on the left, I'll put Chalobah.
Hmm. Okay, I'm gonna use the poll now, but go ahead with what you were saying. I'm listening. Can you explain why Chaluba Badiashile is still part of the squad? And probably he'd be, might probably, I think he'd be in the squad for the
I
game
don't
against
trust
Bayern.
Badiashile. I really don't. Where is he? When was the last time he played football? This is
Hmm.
the problem. You know, he's not fit. Okay, okay. You think he'll play against Bayern?
No, no, no. I don't think he plays. He might.
No,
He's,
he's
we
not
might see him
fit.
on the bench.
Well, maybe, but you know, you have to go. You have to go Chalaba. Maybe Achimpong. Achimpong can do a job there as well.
Okay,
Well, our centre backs are still quite delicate, so um, it has to be. I would put Chalaba. Chalaba plays left or right. It really
but
doesn't
he's
matter.
struggled on two occasions. I've seen him start on that left hand side. He struggled there.
So who's the alternative? It's not Badiashile. You know, Cucurella is well. He's not really got the height, so you
Then
have to
I
play
go with
him.
Hato.
No, Hato is completely not ready for this. He
No,
showed that.
I think it depends.
Mm,
If you are
he can't
deploy
do.
him, and you can say task him to apply himself in a traditional manner, I think he get the job done in the
Coach,
left center back position.
we can't do that. You forget. You know, you're putting faith because this guy played in Ajax in the
No, 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 no. Because I know him, Bobby.
Eredivisie, whatever they call it.
It's because I know
He
him, not because he played that.
he lacks
But
the
go ahead.
physicality. I don't know why. people want to ignore this. This is just a reality. We
Hmm.
had this nonsense with Kepa. Oh, play Kepa. Play. Kepa lacked the wingspan. It is a deficiency. Hato lacks the height. It's a deficiency. I don't care how high he can jump. It remains a deficiency. If I'm the opposition and I see him there, I'm planning aerial balls. This isn't small time stuff. This
So you
isn't
think I think Achimpong, because that's one thing to pay
okay.
attention to.
Akimpong, I'll listen to. Um,
Achimpong, and he's good on the ball.
and he's done
But
it
here's the
before.
difference. Here's the difference, because if we're talking about that left centre back position, we must pay attention to that person's passing range. I think it's a key factor.
Well,
Again,
Hato hasn't
no, he
proved that
doesn't
at
really.
all.
He doesn't. But here's the difference between what's his name? Between Levi Colwell and Achimpong. Achimpong is good on the ball, but here's the thing: Levi Colwell, once you make that run, once he sees that space that he can exploit with the pass, he doesn't need to move an inch with the ball before orchestrating, facilitating the pass. But Achimpong, he'd see the space. His drive again, he tends to drive into that space, or maybe to drive with the ball a little bit before facilitating the pass. You could argue maybe it's down to him still contemplating on again on what to do with the ball, which
Well,
leads
that's
to him to
that's
that
why.
delay. But Levi Colwell, once he sees that
Well,
space, or once you make that run, he facilitates the pass and tries to
for,
find you.
forget
That's the
Levi.
difference. And
He's
Achimpong operates differently, so he will never be Levi Colwell. But go ahead,
Levi's
what you were
not
saying.
Levi's not there. Badia Shield's not fit. Chalobah has got a pass in him, as does Tosin. So you have to do what you have. I would play Chalobah there. I think Chalobah has enough about him to shore up that area, and he sees a pass. There'd been many a pass that Chalobah, and another thing Chalobah does well that is Levi Colwill esque is he supports the midfield. You suddenly see him go into midfield, which is what Levi does. So I would definitely play him there and play Tosin on the right. They're the most
I don't think you
experienced
understand
defenders
my
we've got.
explanation of how they differ, how Levi
Or play
Colwell and
Tosin in the
Achimpong differ.
center. Yeah, I fully understand.
Achimpong
I
cannot
don't.
measure, to be clear, he cannot measure Levi Colwell's passing range, not
No,
even
he
close.
can't. It's not his game.
Exactly.
But he's
And
carrying the
even
ball.
though,
He's
it,
better at it.
yeah, even though he does come across as good on the ball, and he is actually good on the ball. Let me not just, you can say, let me not just be phrase that cautiously. Let me be, you can say, it's a fact. He's good
He
on the
is.
ball,
I saw him in the
but
flesh. He is.
as I've explained again, what if he sees the space, he does come across as a bit hesitant, maybe, or drives into the space a bit with the ball before deciding, before you can say facilitating the pass. But Levi Coward doesn't need to move an inch from where he is to facilitate the pass. And I think the closest to Levi Cowell in terms of passing range, and in terms of, you could say, maybe the preferred foot and vision, is Badia Chile. But there are other aspects of his game that have, you can say, that have proven to be problematic. But in terms of passing range and vision, he would, you could say, would have been the perfect, maybe in the absence of Levi Cole, to come in and do good enough job in that left hand side for the central area of our defensive line. For me, Chaluba is an excellent defender, but whenever deployed on that left hand side, it doesn't do much to aid the way the manager likes to play, and that's an issue, which has led to me again, to my belief that, yeah, eventually we start seeing Badiashile again until Levi Kowa comes back. And you could argue a hint to that fact is the manager saying that, yeah, Badiashile will be very important to us. But that's
Well,
my opinion.
the
But Bobby,
guy
let's hear
the,
you. Let's
the
hear you.
guy has to be fit first, isn't it? This is what I call fantasy island. Where is he? He's not fit. Can he play 2 games? We haven't seen that yet without going off injured. So I don't really put him in my equation. I deal with the players that are fit and capable of playing football. At the moment, either you put your Tosin or your Chalaba on the left, and if you must, then you put um what's his name Achipong on the right of a centre back three. That's all. I mean, that's just what we have. This talk of Badiashile and all that. Badiashile is not fit. Neither will he be for some time, even if
For
he's
some
just on
time,
the
I
pitch.
think probably he'll be in the squad very soon.
Okay,
We'll start see. We
let's
might see
hope
him. We
so.
actually see him on the bench for the Bayern game.
Let's hope so. But you know what he's like. He takes his time to be match ready, and he makes a hell of a lot of mistakes before he is. We've seen it. So you talk about Fofana's development being stunted. He's exactly the same thing. So let's see. Let's just see. But for me, at least to start with, you've got to put. I will play a centre back three. Chalaba rotating with the centre with Tosin and uh, Achipong. Problem with Tosin's one on one, he struggles a bit, so he needs cover. He needs other defenders that are going to come and help him.
I
Um,
wouldn't say he struggles one on one. I'd say again acceleration is his biggest issue. He reads the game very well. Uh, he's excellent at facilitating, let's say, good tackles. I think where the issue lies is lack of good acceleration for him. By the time he picks up the player he's trying to stop is gone.
yeah,
Honestly, but go
so
ahead.
you
What
need
you're saying?
you need you see football's a team. It's teamwork, isn't it? You
Mhm.
need people. I remember when we had Thiago Silva talk about acceleration being his problem. He didn't have it at all, but he made sure he could move players around him to get the job done. Maybe Tosin doesn't do that effectively enough. I don't know, but I can't blame him when the person you had on your right was a totally match rusty Wesley Fofana. Um,
That didn't help for that first goal. It
it
didn't help.
didn't help him at all. He had no cover at all there,
No
and
coordination
Chalaba
between him and Tosin.
and Chalaba, because of the lack of physicality and height in midfield, was constantly having to go into midfield. That was the problem against Fulham. That's what led to that goal because that disallowed go and the whole fury that followed it. Chalaba was constantly having to go into midfield. Now it's okay to do it once in a while, like Levi Colwill did, but when you're doing it all the time, because Enzo Fernandez is slacking and Caicedo is on his own, and there's no aerial stability, then that's a problem. That's a problem.
I
Yeah.
think something else that something that came to mind when you talked about Chalobah having to move to the midfield area. Um, if you watch our final against PSG, there's something we did again in that game in particular. It was very very obvious in that particular game this how we switched positions. How whenever what's his name Levi Cohen moved to the midfield area, you see Caicedo behind him or someone else covering the space he left behind. You could argue the rotation led to that. What's the language I'm looking for? That understanding, maybe that fluidity we saw again in that final against PSG wasn't there. So whenever he leaves, moves to the center to the midfield area to participate in the play, the space left behind, nobody covers it. That was an issue, but that wasn't the case against PSG. And I still argue I'm not making excuses for me, irrespective of how anybody sees it. The international break also was a factor.
Well,
Honestly.
you know, we've been here before many a time. The international break is definitely a factor. The
Mhm.
injury to Dario Asugo doesn't help either. The
And you could
absence
argue,
of
had he been
Romeo,
fit, he would have started that game. Why, while Caicedo rests for the Bayern game?
yeah, the absence of Romeo Lavia doesn't help either. You know, there are lots of circumstances, but why are we always in these circumstances? That's the question. You know, Lavia didn't go on international duty. Goodness knows what happened to Asugo in international duty. You know, why are we always in that situation? Santos came back late. Caicedo came back late. Even Jao Pedro, you could see he was jaded. He came back late. So we have to manage this. We're a top flight team. There's, you know, top teams have these players away on international duty. Why are we always the one to suffer? Well, it's always the one to suffer because of poor squad depth. It's really that simple. Nothing complicated in football. Nothing. Look at how Man City played today. Three giants all the way down the spine. Three of them. It's that simple. Then all the others getting knock-ons in and around them. Foden coming in. Who's that other guy coming in? And they're not exactly small players either. So you've got your physicality right. So you win the right to then play. We're still playing with physicality. Um, it's sad, really. It really is because we're not showing maturity in the understanding of preparing a squad to assault the Premier League. We're not showing it. We look very disorganized, very weak, very haphazard in the way we think.
But can I say this quickly? We're having a conversation, and I don't believe you take it personal.
Mm.
Uh, um, I think the fact that we didn't win that game is the main reason why you're not happy.
Oh, of course,
Yeah,
because
okay.
it was a game waiting to be won.
But the
We
fact
threw
is,
away
it
two
wasn't
points, and you
lack of
can't afford to
physicality
do
wasn't
that.
the reason why we didn't win that game. If you're saying
It
maybe
was
a
a
lack of
major
enough
factor.
height, then I say we have a debate.
Yeah, both. It was a major factor. A major factor. How often did you see Gittins getting bowled over? He couldn't stand up to the defenders of Brentford. Um, um, Barnote snuffed out. Enzo Fernandez didn't really help him either. Enzo has been terrible these last few games. Terrible.
One of our
I,
best players on the day, Bobby.
Enzo?
Yeah, he was good in
Wow.
that. He was one of our best players on the day. He
The
didn't
only
score.
time Enzo started looking anything near the part was when Cole Palmer came on.
Oh, duh. What do you think? Because yeah, players he has better chemistry with on the pitch and all that. That makes a whole lot of difference. And I go to the extent of telling you, had he not been on the pitch when Cole Palmer came in, probably Cole Palmer wouldn't have been as impactful and as he as he was. So
Well,
that's it.
you know,
It does make that does make a lot of difference.
we can keep the arguments, but all I'm saying is when you have a team that you can't offer respite to the likes of Palmer, to the likes of João Pedro, to the likes of even Neto, to the likes of Cucurella, it's a problem. I thought Hato's job was to give Cucurella respite. He couldn't even be trusted to do that. He was thrust into midfield where, you know, I give him time. I think it's he needs time for sure. Everybody knows that. Everybody says that.
Was
But
he
that
poor?
first,
No, he
oh,
wasn't poor. He
he
just
was
wasn't up to the
dreadful.
level.
Exactly.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
was
Which
dreadful.
because it's a new approach. Remember,
Dreadful.
the manager is trying to, what's the language I'm looking for? Um,
Get them ready. Give them baptism of
just
fire
to,
and
no,
all that.
yeah, I'm saying just to operate the way Cucurella operates. You know, the inverted full back row. That's not something. Correct me if I'm wrong. They don't do that. He didn't do that at Ajax. So I
Well,
think that
that's
would take him
fine.
time. And you could argue he was just a bit cautious. He played cautiously. He applied himself cautiously. Didn't really
Cautious.
assert
The
himself. So
guy
like
was
I
picking up
know
yellow
he's developed.
cards.
Go ahead.
Miscon. The guy was picking up a yellow card, miscontrolling the ball, miscontrolling passes. He had a dreadful game.
No,
You have
I
to look
wouldn't go
for
to the extent
reality.
of saying he had a dreadful game, in my opinion. And here's something else I want to say, Bobby. It's natural that we humans, when we expect so much of our fellow human beings, we usually hardly ever, uh, you could say, they usually this had they don't do enough
Good.
to, you could say,
It's
what's the
because
language I'm
I
looking for,
don't.
to satisfy us.
It's because I don't expect that much that I don't appreciate what was done. I'm somebody that is happy to see certain players on the bench for a while.
I think if
I think
Mhm.
it's important for squad rotation. He had no business starting that game. He should be a bench player for some months before you start seeing him on the pitch like
And if
that.
the manager had Cucurella on the pitch and he gets injured, I'm quite sure you'd be questioning why he didn't start Hato. So
Well,
you see,
he didn't really
as one of our
play.
brothers, may he so continue to rest in peace, would say, "You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't." In all honesty, Bobby, let's talk about this again. Cucurella played 2 games for Spain.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay, and we have Bayern coming up in 4 days.
yeah.
The manager had no option. For me, he had the option of actually starting Cucurella. But I've always known that with C had to start, then if need be, and I've always known that we'd have Cucurella on the bench and Copama and the rest of the big guns, if you may, we'd have them on the bench and bring them on if need be, which was exactly what the manager did. But we weren't, you could say, clinical enough to take the chances that we created after the after the big guns were introduced. So honestly, Bobby, come on, you've been following this game for a while.
Hmm.
Had to start.
Well,
And had
if
Kukurea started and gotten injured, I know you very well to know you'd be questioning why the manager didn't start Hato. Why did
well,
he? Yeah, exactly. But go ahead.
I can give you that for sure. But the only thing I'll say there is that at the moment, the drop off in quality from Cucurella to Hato is a chasm.
I mean, I agree, but
It
I know
is
Hato has the quality. He just needs time,
okay. Well,
and he's still 19. We must remember that.
yeah, yeah, we've done it now, haven't we? So let's see what happens.
No,
But for now, it's the drift is so huge. It's massive. The only thing we can do is, for unfortunately, please God, Cucurella stays fit and he plays against Bayern, and he's able to start against Man United. Then the game against Lincoln, you can then start to think of starting Hato.
yeah, I think Hato
Um,
plays that game because he needs more games.
yeah, for
He needs to
sure.
play a lot more again to pick up because during our friendly, I think was it against AC Milan when he was actually good when he came on. He has the pace and he's a good tackler. He can be he's not the biggest on the pitch, but you can bully him. I think he was just a bit. He applied himself cautiously, leading to him not doing enough to impress those that were expecting him, you can say, to be ripping up trees, like you would say. But go ahead, Bobby. See, here's something else I want to say. I want us to do here. Let's switch this to, you can say, how we know we apply ourselves on the pitch. Not 3-4-2-1, but I think 3-2-4-1 mainly. You understand?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
Mhm.
I can see that. But
Because that's usually. Go
the
ahead.
thing is, we can't be stagnant.
No,
All
we
these
cannot. Yeah.
formations are just in principle, or shall we say, a sketch formation.
Which means
Okay,
I think maybe what we call the starting structure, maybe we should go back, just stick with the 4-2-3-1 and plug in the players there and forget about how we apply ourselves. Is that what you want us to do?
no, you can do it any way you like. All I know is that in the process of that game, we better get ready to be flexible. because with the sort of midfielders and attackers at the disposal of Bayern Munich,
Mm.
you can't be rigid. Rigidity will lead to your banishment. Remember, they have a point to prove. They can never forgive us for what we did to them at the Allianz.
Would you
They
say
can't.
that in its own an added pressure?
It's yeah, it's a motivation for them.
Mm.
But we are in a position to completely demoralize them. In that if we go there and beat them again, whenever they hear the name Chelsea, they're going to be trembling. You don't forget those sort of things easily, and you don't waste the opportunity to do that to teams. Those teams are looking for their revenge, but you want to put them in a position that they will hate playing you. They will hate it, especially at home. So this is also an opportunity for us. It's like PSG. If we meet them, they'll be looking for revenge, but if we beat them again, they will dread seeing us anywhere.
I'd have
Anywhere.
to say that definitely Luis Enrique, he was looking for a revenge. He was I'd
Well, it's
swear that
normal.
he wanted to beat us to prove to Chelsea that yeah, that they should have given him the job.
Well, he didn't. So that's all history now.
Seriously,
But
word he didn't. Yeah. So Bobby, let's go. You said I think Achimpong here, but I'd go if it were up to me. I'd go with Hato. He's able to fulfill the left centre back role. You can
no.
argue he was probably one of the reasons why we opted not to go
Cat-
for another centre back.
Categorically, I say no.
All right, I think
No and a
Achimpong
double
here, in
no.
my opinion,
Yeah, you don't waste. Ah, do you think these people are foolish? You put a short guy there, they would just laugh. They'll just say, "Hey, Harry Kane, any opportunity you get, you go to the left." That's all.
Kane is a serious area of threat.
Exactly. So you don't do these things. You've got to take games seriously now. The experimental stage has gone with Chelsea. You go into every game with a ruthlessness in mind. You don't throw away opportunities and throw away points. So definitely our left back. If you don't want to put Chalobah there, put Achipong
I
there.
mean left
But
centre
then,
back, right? I think
yeah,
Achimpong, in my opinion,
yeah. If you want that, fine. It's better
because
than having Hato there. That's for sure.
Chalobah on that left hand side again since the uh, uh, Chilwell, what's his name, Levi Cole got injured, he's struggled.
Fine, put him on the right. Put Tosin in the center. I don't really care. All I know is that we must have the physicality and height right to start off with. You don't do that at the Allianz. You never do that.
Yeah,
German
I
side
think
can.
Dustin that definitely starts that game. But we're not doing the
Exactly.
lineup for the Bayern game. We're doing our strongest 11. Let's be clear
Uh,
now.
okay,
So,
whatever.
but
For the
this
time being, that's it.
this central area isn't easy, Josh. Tosin needs to be there. I get it. He's not the quickest, but if he's on the pitch, I'd say Maresca. He has to find a way to conduce Tosin's conduce maybe mask Tosin's deficiencies. Um, deficiency
I
maybe
I I,
singular. The lack of
I
you could
don't
say
buy.
acceleration.
I don't buy this negative press of Tosin
No,
at
not
all.
negative. Bobby,
I
he doesn't
don't.
accelerate quick. It's singular. Let me not make it plural there. It's singular. He doesn't accelerate quick. And I think it was a risk in the first place. I mean, you could say the lack of, you could say, chemistry, proper chemistry between him and Fofana didn't help,
Yeah, that's
honestly.
because Fafana wasn't fit and he
Yeah.
didn't have the quickness of mind to cover. There were many a time he was behind the attacker instead of in front of the attacker, and he left Tosin to sweep too much. That was a fault in the right side of the centre back three. So if you have Chalobah there, you have Tosin in the middle, and then you have
Yeah.
Achipong on the left.
No,
You're shored up,
yeah,
and
in
then
all
you put.
honesty, I think the
You,
best again, honestly, it should be Tosin and Chalobah. But the question is who plays on what side of the pitch for me, dang it, it's not that simple, honestly. Because Tosin brings the experience. On his day, he reads the game very well. He can be good aerially. Doesn't panic under pressure. The only thing that also I bring up once again, I know I've said it 1,000 times, the poor acceleration. That's an issue. And again, and it not down to him. That's just who he is. I've always known that that's his game, but that doesn't mean that he's slow. He's deceptively quick, but doesn't accelerate quick enough. So I think a mix of him and Chaloba, I think it's fine because maybe Cucurella operates in a traditional manner here. Let's say if we have the two of them, right,
Mm.
like this, then even if we invert again, then maybe Cucurella operates in a traditional manner that the person that will be inverting here will be the right back. The one of the fullbacks that will be inverting will be the right back. So when this happens, if we have the three of them, Chaloba is very comfortable operating on the right hand side. Tosin will do well centrally rather than being on either side. Then here, I think we'll be good.
Yeah.
I think yeah, because that's but it's not easy because yeah, we lack. You could argue. I don't want to say we lack quality, but the absence of Levi Kowa creates a huge issue there, and the lack of trust for Badia Shile also does create an issue. It makes it very difficult. So I think this will be fine. But go ahead. You were saying you wanted to say something.
No, I don't want to say anything. I just think it's right, and the only thing I'll say is that it comes back to my squad depth argument. We're too quick to, oh, this player's on the bench, get rid of him. That's not football. That's not winning football. You
Mhm.
have to have players coming off the bench. Everybody knows that. But at Chelsea, within the fan base, it seems to be some sort of ridiculous problem, such that it actually, I think, influences the club to release players too quickly. I really believe that. I think we stupidly galvanize the release of players too quickly. If the fan base were more interested in squad strength than in certain things, I don't think we'll be having these problems. I really don't. Well, at the moment, the centre back situation is created by double injuries to the people that could play in that area. So that's a mitigation. But you need that squad depth. You really do. At the moment, I don't like Badiashile. I don't like players that can't prove that they are capable of going the distance. I really don't. I don't understand his injuries. I think they're too frequent for a young player and
Have you
too
heard
baseless.
have you heard the theory that he only gets injured during transfer windows, so he doesn't get sold?
Well, I don't know about that. That's funny. It sounds like a joke, but he's not impressing me. He's not showing that strength. And for me, I'm all about strength, physical and mental strength, because that's what it takes to win, especially winning the Premier League. How often do you see Liverpool defenders out? Kanote and Van Dijk will play every single game for you twice a week, all season if they have to, without being injured. That's the difference. Look at what's the Arsenal centre back pairing. They're always there. You don't have all this. Oh, this guy's injured his muscles, so you don't see him for a year. To me, it's just not acceptable. But
Honestly,
we are where
honestly,
we are.
Bobby, you are not happy one bit.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I hate
Mhm.
weakness in my team because I know what it is. We've watched the Premier League together even for years. You know what it takes. It's not a place for slouches. It's not a place for weakness. It's very unforgiving. Unless you
All
want to
right.
be a mediocre team, then fine. You languish in the middle of the
All
table
right,
if
well,
that's what you
we'll
want.
see. We'll see what happens, Bobby. I think we'll
Okay.
be fine. As I've said before, we're not the most physical. We're not also wimps. I think we're in between. We're able to effectively deal with the physical sides. We've proven that. Um, and I think, yeah, there are a few players you could definitely say they need to bulk up a bit, and I think that makes a whole lot of difference. And I think they will be on it. We don't have to have Andre the Giant in every position to achieve our goals. Again, we all see things differently, and I understand where you're coming from. Physicality is a key factor in succeeding in the Premier League, and but I think we have enough, in my
Did you
opinion.
see Erling Haaland's second goal?
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah,
There you go.
yeah. All
There
right.
you go.
No, but
You
I'm
know,
not saying. Did I say you're wrong? I'm not saying. I'm just saying. I think we have. Well, you can say we're physical enough. We're not wimps. I'm not sure how else to say that, but you get my point. Tony, nice to see you. I'm Mike Kenyan, bro. I appreciate you finding the time to join the conversation, and I do hope you're doing well. Thank you so much. One second here, let me handle this. So Bobby, right back, definitely Reece James. Even though we know the manager, I think I can see him playing the midfield against Bayern, but let's stick with this traditional
yeah,
position.
I can. That's not a
Yeah,
bad idea
not a
because
bad idea, but
he
we're
has
not doing
them
the
now.
Bayern lineup. We're doing our strongest 11 at the moment. I think definitely, yeah, right back. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of a general strongest 11, if he's fit, definitely.
Yeah, and the manager would most definitely rotate. If we're playing against a side with pacey forwards, I think we'll definitely see Malagus to start. And then we can actually see them both on the pitch with Reece James operating in the midfield area and Gusto operating as a right back. If
Yeah,
the
we've done that.
concern is the pace of the opposition, go ahead if you were saying something.
Yeah, we've done that a lot, and I think it'll
Mm.
make good sense against Bayern at least to start.
Yeah, he will, and we might see that on that day. Um, so yeah, but 2 6s. I know a lot of people would like to see Andres Santos start over Enzo Fernandez, but they're not the same. I get it. Maresca did say during one of his presses that he sees Andres Santos as a 10 on attack. I think, yeah, let me go with that term. Um, but the truth remains Enzo is more experienced of the two. And Enzo has better vision in terms of better passing range. Andres Santos can do a lot, again, from a defensive perspective, much better. But from an offensive perspective, Enzo Fernandez much better, in my opinion. Um, and I think he's grown into that role. Or let's say, if we're seeing things from the perspective of how Maresca wants him to apply himself, and Maresca himself did say that a few days ago. He's adding a lot more goals to his game, creating chances for his teammates also, and I think it's proven to a lot of Chelsea fans that he can actually be physical. Uh, Once again, I remember telling people that he's always been a physical player, but because of his typical South American player, in most cases, he'd rather, it depends on where you are on the pitch or the situation. He'd rather draw a foul than start the fight with you. Um, but yeah, the 2 6s, I think at the moment, I say best. Yeah, Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez. But that's my opinion. But Caicedo definitely. But let's see if you differ when it comes to Enzo Fernandez. Let's hear you, Bobby.
If we're talking of best 11,
Yeah.
to me, the two sixes is Caicedo and Lavia.
Hmm.
That is not even for
Even
me.
paying attention to how the manager likes to operate.
Well, he
Yes,
never has Lavia, so you don't know. Lavia is never available. But if he is available, he's got to be there. That's for sure.
that's interesting. I'd say definitely. Because if you have Lavia and Caicedo, that means you have two traditional sixes. You can say not necessarily traditional sixes, but they apply themselves as traditional sixes. I think. Hmm. Interesting.
I would play them both. I don't care for what Enzo Maresca Fernandez is doing at the
Okay.
moment.
Let
He
me
has to
remind you
go on the
something.
bench for me.
Yeah. Let me remind you something.
That's not the end
Let's
of the world.
revisit last season, right?
Mm.
If you remember how we started last season, we were scoring tons of goals, but we were conceding tons of goals too, right? You
No.
remember, right?
What?
Okay.
So what's the point?
Then, how did Maresca solve the issue? He dropped Enzo Fernandez, right? I agree, and started pairing Caicedo and Romeo Lavia. And with that change, he did achieve his goal at the time, which was to stop us from conceding as many goals as we were conceding before he started again pairing Caicedo and Romeo Lavia, which led to Enzo Fernandez being dropped. And at the time, I immediately realized that his aim at the time was to solve the defensive issues we were having at the time, which you could argue, yeah, it makes sense to start solving it from the midfield area. Because yeah, a good defensive side starts defending from actually the attacking area. But he wanted to start defending from that midfield area. Our attack presses very well, which is also a form of defending. But in the midfield area, we weren't doing well at the time. So, but the introduction of the pairing of Romeo Lavia and Caicedo solved that issue, but at the same time created a problem. We stopped conceding too many goals, but at the same time, we started creating less and less chances and started and stopped. You can say we weren't scoring that much at the time. So the manager now, I think, at one point he had to find a way to accommodate the three of them on the pitch, both Romeo Lavia, Moises Caicedo, and Enzo Fernandez. Then we started scoring again. So for me, I don't know because he hadn't done that in a while. I think I'm mixing this up with us. You could say doing the lineup prediction exercise for the Bayern game, but that's not it. We're building our strongest 11. If you want again a starting 11 that would be defensively solid, I'd agree. Romeo Lavia and Moises Caicedo, but at the same time, yeah, that will reduce the number of attacking players we'll have on the pitch at the same time, leading to us not creating as many chances as we would if we have the pairing of Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo. I don't know if you get my point, or did I end up confusing you trying to
No,
explain
I
my
get
point of
your
view?
point, but
Yeah,
I
because if we
don't
have
see
Romeo
the play at
Lavia,
all.
then we'll definitely have one, two, three, four, five, six defensive players.
Yeah,
So it
I think
becomes too
I think
much.
I think we need them. I think as a starting 11, because I don't just look at it. I never look at things in stagnation. I
Mhm.
understand there are five substitutions, and I understand you have to be fluid. And for me, I would, in a starting 11, I would shore up the defense with those two there. I would put, if you must have Enzo on the field, okay, put him in the number 10
It,
and
it
shift,
doesn't have to be him.
um,
It can actually be Andreas Santos, but I think right
and,
now, definitely him.
well, whatever, then shift Palmer to the right, which he often does, and Neto to the left, and João Pedro down the middle. There's plenty of room for rotational changes and so on for people coming off the bench, and I would include Delap when fit uh, in that equation, and Andre Santos. I look for the strength of the team, the strength in depth of the team.
Mhm.
I don't just pick an 11 and I think everybody else is going to language in outer space. No, I know they're going to come on the field, but you must be strong in every aspect of those starting and of those coming off the bench. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I'm glad I was able to explain that again and get my point of view across to you. The reason, again, explaining my reason, the reason I think it wouldn't make sense to start Romeo Lavia and Caicedo as our two sixes. Again, as much as they ensure we have good, again, our defense, they will strengthen our defensive approach, but that we will suffer offensively. But let's see. Let's give those in the chat the microphone. We'll come back to the panel, and we have Rugged Frankie. He says, "Hi all. I just have an observation from Chelsea's yesterday's game. How can Brentford keep a repeating same long throws? And Agatha could not read. I'm guessing that game and ask Sanchez to come out and make an easy catch. I think they were actually they knew Sanchez was again an important part of our approach to dealing with set piece situations. They were circling him. I paid attention to that, but you need to go rewatch it yourself to get my point. And BK here is saying that people will never know how bad a job Maresca is doing until we get a proper manager. Maresca is mismanaging and underutilizing the squad. The sports coach will show us how bad Maresca is. Okay, you're entitled to your opinion, and we wait and see. And BK, I hope I remember this video will be there forever. So come the end of the season, we'll see, yeah, uh, who's a better, maybe then we'll compare and see who's a better manager. And you also went ahead to say here, does anyone notice, okay, not you, this is Rugged Frankie right now, that Gittins is still struggling. Yeah, that's obvious. I mean, even the blind man would tell from what the commentators are saying, but that doesn't mean he's a bad player. I think he just needs time. Also, he is easily exhausted in first half. He has disappointed me. Houston, I think he will come good. Don't be
I,
disappointed, but
I, I
that's
need
me. I
to
see. You can
I
say
need to talk
maybe
about
I'm just
Gittins here.
maybe more. Maybe I can be more patient than you. Go ahead, Bobby.
I watched Gittins very closely. It is disappointing. It is very disappointing when you think that Madueke was more or less chased out because of him. Right now, at this moment in time, the drop in quality from Madueke to him is another chasm. It is humongous. It really is. He's not. He's like playing somebody from the academy. He doesn't have it at all. I saw it against AC Milan. The Milan right back just had him in his pocket, and all his little stepovers and things were just fruitless. He has no shot on goal. He really is a disappointment at the moment. Now, will he get better? I pray he does, because if he continues along this vein, he's not going to cut the gravy at Chelsea.
How many games into the season?
Well, it's four. It's four. And, because of that, we're saying, let's see what he does. But we're at the
That's just
point
you.
where,
A lot of people aren't seeing it like that.
well, time waits for no one in this league, coach.
Here's something. Yeah, here's
We've,
something I
we've
want to say.
passed the experimental phase.
Which is why we signed Ganacho because we know
Oh,
you can
please.
argue chances are he's not gonna. You can say chances are that he might need time to adapt. And I see,
People are saying
but
Garnacho needs time as well. I mean,
yeah,
so
but no, I
everybody
think Ganacho
needs
won't be
time
that much of an
again.
issue in terms of adapting to the Premier League. Ganacho can be physical. He's quick, very direct. And if you looked at his numbers at United or watched him at United, you see that actually they were wasteful. He created a lot of chances and he puts the ball in the box with intent. In terms of Gittins, I get it. He struggled, but he's not been as bad as a lot of people are making it out to be. And I'm going to say this. I know I've said it already. We're humans, and it's only natural that we get disappointed with when we expect so much from someone they hardly ever you can say we hardly ever, you can say, get satisfied.
Coach, I'll say at the moment, Gittins has been worse. We've passed the experimental stage. We're in the big boy phase of football
Four
now.
games into the
Doesn't
season.
matter. Doesn't matter. It's
All right,
performance
all
at
right.
the time, and he's
You
not
remember you
been
were one of those
reliable.
also saying the same thing about Mark Cucurella, weren't you? You
No,
were.
I wasn't. I said that about KDH, I would admit. And what
No,
happened?
you said that
KDH
you
went
didn't,
a
you didn't
whole
like.
season.
You were one of those you said preaching for the manager to pick Ben Chilwell over Cucurella.
No, it wasn't me.
Okay, even if it wasn't you, here's the thing, Bobby. We're having a conversation here,
Yeah,
and I
okay.
hope again I haven't insulted you. We're just having a conversation.
No, it's not about.
Okay,
No,
okay.
okay.
Here's the thing. My point is, Gittins isn't a bad player. He's not.
No,
He's struggled. He's not. You could say measured our expectations. Let me just put it that way.
no, he's not measured the standard required to
Because you could
play at
argue the
this
same
level.
thing.
No, it's not quite the same thing, coach.
And
Nobody has
would you make
anything
sense? Oh,
against
Bobby, would it
Gittins.
also make sense to remind you
We
that
want
we
him
didn't
to
have a proper
succeed.
preseason, did we?
You mean
That's a
did
factor
he?
also to pay attention to.
He didn't. You're saying he didn't have a proper
Did
preseason.
we? Did we as Chelsea have a proper preseason? We did not.
Well, we had a different preseason. Our preseason went into a competition, a
No,
serious
that
competition.
that's the period that the player should have gone on break. If you
So,
remember,
what point are you making?
I actually was seeing it that way. It was you, Bobby, that corrected me that actually the Club World Cup was actually part of part of last season.
It was, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Because then I took my time to look at it and say, yeah, Bobby was actually correct because that period was usually the period where they go on break after the season.
Yeah.
So, listen, these are factors. I know you follow football long enough, and it's important that we have such conversation. I agree. It's been, you can argue he has had an awful start to life as a Chelsea player. It'd be correct to put it that way. But I think he will come good. He has it in him. The quality is there, and I'm not just going by eye test alone. I've seen him play for Dortmund, how well he did in the Champions League. I watched the one. What game was that? He won the man of the match in the Champions League game. And I did look at his numbers, and I'm glad we didn't sign Nico Williams over him. The difference, Nico Williams won the Euros, yeah, with the Spanish national team. You could argue more experience than him, but given what we need, Gittins is a kid. Is a player we need, and he will get there. You're the one usually that preach that we should give players time. For instance, you were the one that were reminded. You preached and reminded people to be patient with Esther William, and I was ready to be patient with him. But one thing I told you, but probably you, and I believe that by now you must have seen by yourself, that kid, he's not a wimp. Even though he's not the biggest, you can't bully him off the ball easily. And
I'm glad you mentioned that
that's why we're here. And
because
chances are,
when
I
I
could be wrong about Gittins. He might turn out to be an SIT player, and we end up selling him. There's a
when I
possibility that that becomes the case.
when I advocated for Esteval to be given time, I meant it because I knew how punishing this league is. And I knew that a young, physically inept player would probably need to be coming off the bench and be bled into the team. This is very true.
I
He
mean,
has
and I mean, it
superseded.
should be.
Let,
We
let
should
me land.
actually temper our
He,
expectations for every new
he,
player. There's no
he has
guarantee.
he has superseded his expectation. Kittens is the same thing. My gripe is not that, oh, he's not performing well and he can't beat his man, which is all those things.
Mhm.
My gripe is that the squad planning has been so deficient that we got rid of players that could beat their man, that we had gone through sweat and tears to develop them for 2 years. And when they got to a point where we could really yield the fruit, we sent them off to other teams. I'm speaking of Noni Madueke. You
And
know,
can you stick with him? Stick with Noni Madueke. Can I ask you this, Bobby? Have you not seen enough to realize that actually he wanted to leave? He was still at the Club World Cup with us and started talking with Arsenal. And if you remember, we had that conversation here.
hmm,
That the moment Fabrizio started talking with him, we had, you could say, a lengthy conversation. And my argument that time, Dante also, was that there's no world where Fabrizio will report that Arsenal are looking at signing Noni Madueke if he hadn't given them the green light. And it turns out that was the case. It just came out yesterday or earlier today that he was eager to join Arsenal. That's from Mikel Arteta himself. And it was Fabrizio that released that statement. Why would I keep that player? I wouldn't. And Maresca probably wouldn't be happy because Maresca liked Madueke so much that we were all complaining, questioning why, in most cases, he stayed on the pitch, the length of time he stayed on the pitch in most games. Even the final against Real Betis, he was horse doo doo. Shouldn't actually have lasted 45 minutes on the pitch. But he finished that game. While Tariq George, for me, who I see as a much, again, as a, you can say, for me, a more intelligent player, given the way he applies himself, was on the bench. Maresca didn't take off Noni Madueke. Didn't he finish that final against Real Betis? There were games where he shouldn't even play 30 minutes. Maresca loved him that much and probably wasn't happy the moment he realized, because I'm quite sure the manager probably asked him what's going on here and realized he'd already set his mind on leaving. We did discuss, you could say, his situation from different perspectives. Some argued that probably he's not happy that Nicholas Jackson got a pay rise, Cole Palmer got a pay rise, and he hasn't. And probably he believes that, yeah, he deserves to get one. So he was loved at the club. I get the
yeah,
manager. Let me stick with the manager. Not all the fans loved him. A lot of the fans, you could argue, didn't like him. I think it'd be too much to say hated him. Nicholas Jackson, the same thing. We're learning. We wanted to keep him, but he's made up his mind he wants to leave. Probably we did try to bring him back and since, yeah, he's gone. And decided, you know what? Yeah, you're gonna leave, but on our terms. He wanted to leave so much, and it's out there, Bobby.
okay.
I get it.
Now,
You're never happy whenever we lose players because you always bring the point up again. Talk about you always like us discussing the importance of squad depth, which is very good. But these two players, they want it gone. And I like it. If I were the manager, I'd let you go. If you don't want to stay, I will
yes,
let you go. Because if I keep you, yeah, the risk of, you could say, you creating a problem in the dressing room will increase. But go ahead.
yes, when players want to go, you let them go, but then you replace them
I'd say we have a good replacement for him. It's just a
in
matter
who?
of time. Listen. I get it. Some Chelsea fans, he's done well, especially in the last game for Arsenal. He was brilliant for them. Some are already asking the question if we made a mistake to have let him join Arsenal. I don't think so. Kai Havertz started very well for them too. But now I can assure you, by the time we get to the next summer transfer window, Kai Havertz will be pushing to leave. I'm not wishing him bad luck, except if I see him improving those aspects where we've complained too much about him not looking up, almost always opting to dribble, when in most cases he'd be better off just putting the ball in the box or trying to find his teammate. He had to, you can say, be a little more selfless and be a little less selfish. Then he can be world class. I'm quite sure that's not the first time you've heard me say this. We never said he was a bad player, but we did see him as a sort of player I think you were here when we talked about that. That probably the arrival of Estova and the signing of one more winger, he does come. I did say at the time that he does come across to me as a sort of player that will bail because he sees himself as better than a lot of people. But go ahead, Bobby. Sorry, I've spoken quite a lot and I didn't let you talk so that we can get the comments we have, the contributions we have in the live chat session. Go ahead.
No, I mean what you're saying is very reasonable, but my point is, that being the case, you kind of replace players with an upgrade. You don't go to somebody that takes you all the way back to development again. You must give yourself some leeway, some respite. Now, if you guys think Garnacho is the guy, I say time will tell. I saw him for a few minutes and I wasn't impressed. I think he
Probably because
lacked.
you were expecting a lot.
Well, if you're going to be somebody that's going to fill the gap that Noni left behind, then we have the right to expect a lot.
You know, he wasn't
We're
even
playing
fully
big
fit.
competitions. Well,
You know, he wasn't fully
let's
fit.
see. Let's see. We're playing big competitions now. It's not like we're going into the Conference League. This is the Champions League, and we need players that will hit the ground running now. The experimental stage is over.
Bobby, I'm
Um,
sorry. Stav is in the chat. Do you hear what he said?
no, what's he
Do you
saying?
have to shout, coach?
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, that's
No,
his
Bobby
right.
did wind me up. Like you would
Uh,
start a fight if somebody winds you up, or maybe
oh,
if
gosh.
Bobby is again is a he's really peace with the fans. That's the way he speaks too. But go away, George. Leave me alone, staff. Go ahead, Bobby.
Well, well, that's it. There's
But was that
very
shouting really?
the yeah. You were a little excited, but it's all good. Look, there's the margin
Oh
for
my
error
goodness.
is
Yeah.
is less now because of the level of competition we're in. When it was Conference League, there was a margin for error and scope to embrace development. We've kind of gone past that now. We have Gittins developing. Buonanotte, I don't even know what he is yet. Let's see what happens there. It's more than enough. We've got too many recovering, developing, and unfit players at a time where we really are in the deep end. So, if you guys think that Garnacho, excuse me, sorry, I had to. Well, if you guys think that Garnacho can cut the gravy, time will tell. But he
Yeah.
better do it
Let me
because
say this quickly.
there's no playing around now.
Yeah. No, Ganacho would do well, honestly. Bobby, let me say this quickly, Bobby. Bonanote, Facundo, right?
Whatever.
He will be uh, key for us. He's good at navigating tight spaces. Again, if you paid attention to the start of that game,
Yeah.
you'd see that.
What tight
But
spaces did he navigate against Brentford?
they did a bit. We didn't just. He created. I think there was a good chance he created. Who was that? We didn't take, but I think he would be important. He's a good player. But let's see what happens. Let me give the microphone to those in the chat so we come back on the panel and complete uh, the exercise. Chelsea's strongest 11. I don't know what that did to Staff. He just decided he probably should be in bed, but decided let him have a go. And what's I think I was
I
watching
don't
a
see
TV
the comment.
program one day. The guy that was reading the statistics off of the board, he was so excited as I was a few minutes ago, and the guy that was listening to him said, "You're yelling at me." All right. But thank you. Yeah, I don't think especially Houston. You could be correct, but I disagree. We'll see. But thank you for that contribution in the chat. There, Shank says, "What is the expectation from Maresca?" Houston, I think we'll win one trophy or two this season. Which ones I don't know yet. I need to see more. Then by the time we get to the again week 7, 8, I'll be able to tell you where I believe we will finish. Remove Tosin. Uh, no, right now experience is key. Experience is key. Sorry, I have to every now and then. I kept my daughter where I've been seeing her, so every now and then she comes to the door there. Um, has been disappointing. Uncle Tosin, who's Yancy? Let's see. First 3 months of the season, Caicedo was a flop according to fans. I agree with that. He didn't start well. Conceded the penalty. Was it against West Ham United or so? Looked at the place, um, and you could say the start of life for players in any particular club, especially 4 games into the season, shouldn't be used to judge how well they do. We've had a couple of players who didn't start well but finished well. You can say left the club a legend. Legends maybe, because I mentioned a couple of players, but that's by the way. I think Gittins will come good. He's still a kid, needs time. To be fair, Garnacho also didn't have preseason. Yeah, also I think he'd be good for us. And one thing, Bobby, if you remember, I told you Garnacho, he's one player you'll always get again commitment from him, 150% commitment on the pitch for him, and he has that sort of Chelsea never die attitude. He has it. And if anybody is saying, you could say, quoting the so-called attitude issue, just look at Manchester United. We are okay. If Garnacho was their problem, how are they doing now? If he was Marcus Rashford, how are they doing now? If it was Anthony, how are they doing now? There are all the names. How are they doing now? If it was Kobe Mainoo, who was on the bench today when I looked, how did they do in his absence? Yeah, so, but that's by the way. Noni did not want to stay; he wanted to go. That's up. Again. We've heard a lot of stuff that suggests, yeah, that was the case. Imagine defending a player that doesn't even love your club. I mean, at Aishi, I think it'd be correct to argue that he doesn't love the club. But here's the thing: I don't want to go to that extent because I'm a big believer in the fact that it's business for all parties involved. The players, the club. The club will always do what they believe is best for them. The player will also do what they believe is best for them. Shanks, leave me alone. Madueke isn't a left winger, but he can play on either flanks. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, he played a lot on the right hand side for us, and the manager tried him on the left also. Some people at the time, actually, I think when he was tried on the left, a lot of people said, yeah, he's better off deployed on the left hand side. But the Demonat, by the way, I don't believe I've said hello to you. Hello to you, and thank you for joining the conversation. And right now we have 14 likes. Why? We have 136 people following the show on YouTube. If half of you take a second and drop a like on the video for us, we'd have at least 50 likes. But please, yeah, we still do beg for likes because, yeah, we're not a big account yet, but we're getting there. We're getting closer and closer to 29,000 subscribers. Right now, we're at 28 and 148. Please help us garner more likes. And if you see is it boost? Please click on it to help us reach more people. I'm not. I'm never gonna forgive you about this stuff. Did Noni leave? 7 goals. I don't want to talk about that. Chelsea need a good coach like Benitez. Joaquin, very welcome. Okay, thank you, Sharif, for saying that. And Staff is saying again, Jackson wanted to stay until Maresca basically said he was in the transfer conversation. Okay, let's go with what you said there. You're always blaming the players. Maybe your understanding of the English language is suspect. You just woke up and chose violence. And he says I woke him up. But stop, nice to see you. More importantly, I appreciate you. We need a Rodrigo in the attacking side of Chelsea. Of course, the lap is injured. Rodrigo from Real Madrid. Have you? Anyway, I don't want to get into that debate now. But Sharif, thank you for that contribution. I'm in bed. You woke me. I do remember that. Yeah, probably early in the morning for you. In the midfield, Casemiro. All right, yeah, the Casemiro is the rumor. He's you can say the scapegoat now, right? But that's by the way. Let's get back to the exercise. Yeah, Lucky Sin isn't out, isn't happy. He wants Luke Shaw out. So Bobby, two sixes, I think we can agree. The most again, these two for us. That doesn't mean we're not going to see rotation. We Kudo Sugo is capable of coming in for Caicedo, and he is also very capable of fulfilling the traditional six role. I don't know about his ability to read the game very well, but he has a good shot in him. Good fight, not easy to muscle up the ball. I think you can argue probably more physical than Caicedo. Rugged Frankie said Facundo was excellent, honestly. I may be the only one who saw, I wouldn't go to the extent of saying he was excellent. He looked a bit out of place, and that's down to the fact lack of proper chemistry between him and his new teammate, to be honest. And Jamie Gittins, if only Gittins understood his intentional passes, I think he will come good. But I understand where you're coming from. Rugged Frankie, my Canadian bro. Madueke is an Arsenal fan. I didn't know he was. I didn't know that. Let's see what else we have here. Lucky Sin. Let's see. Is injured. Sugo, yeah, he's injured during the international break. Bobby, go ahead. 10. Let's hear you. Give me 1 second. I need to handle. It looks like the boys are fighting. I'll be back in a second, Bobby.
I had to step away for a second, Coach. Where are we? Can you hear me? Hello, Coach. Coach. Where'd he go, Coach? If you're talking, I can't hear you. Gosh.
I had to leave the office door open to be hearing them and seeing them.
Oh, right. You
Yeah,
had
yeah,
to step out as well.
yeah. Go ahead. You were saying something.
No, I just was explaining. I had to step away as well for a second.
Oh, did you really? I didn't know. I thought you were there.
Oh,
And I
you
was
were still
saying, okay.
shouting, were you? Were you still shouting? Gosh.
All right. Yeah. The Devon. Okay. Thank you for helping, Bobby. United fans aren't happy, and I think eventually they're gonna let Amorim go. But that's not our business.
Yeah,
So,
and we shouldn't make them happy either,
mhm.
and go with our little frailties and then start to give them joy.
No,
You
we
know,
shouldn't. Yeah. Okay. So, Bobby, let's look at what we have here. SF will probably, I think, I'd deploy him on the flanks. So let's go irrespective of, you can say, the hype around Estevao. He's an excellent player, and I think he'd eventually become one of the best players in the world. Vic will say, I think a lot of it because that's the two words I use a lot. I think. Um, 10, I'd give it to Cole Palmer. Then we walk out the flanks. Who's right wing, left wing? But let's hear you, Bobby, your thoughts.
well, in terms of the best 11, I would certainly not do that. I would have to have because I don't trust the wingers on the left. I would have to have as starting 11. I'd have
Who
to
would
have
you
Enzo
stand on the left?
on the left. Neto have to go there. He's the best winger we have. On the right, Palmer would have to go on the right wing.
On what part of the pitch has he proven to be more effective? He's able to play on either
From
side,
He
but
can
on the
play on
left.
either side, but he's better on the right than on the left. But we've got nothing on the left. You all have faith in Garnacho. I'm yet to see that. To be honest, I don't know yet whether Garnacho is the guy. From what I saw against Brentford, I wasn't impressed. But to be fair to him, it wasn't much time, and he's still not quite fit. So I'll accept
So
that.
we have to go with what we know.
Exactly. And what we know is
Mm.
Neto is the best winger we have, and Palmer's great on the right, and if he has somebody playing the 10, he can interchange. Trouble is, if it's Enzo Fernandez, Enzo's not much cop going on the right, and that's where someone like Gusto comes in because he will overlap. But if we're playing our starting 11, we'd have to rely on Reece James overlapping, which you and I both know it's a little bit risky with him and his record. But as a starting 11, underlying that point, that's how I would do it. Yeah. But if we're having sort of the game on Wednesday in mind, I would certainly seriously consider having Reece James in midfield with Caicedo. It works.
I think we'll see that. Bobby, what do you like the most about Pedro Neto? I'd say let's hear you first before I again I present my opinion. One thing, just one
Well,
thing. I know a lot of there are a lot of you could say reasons to like him. Well, but there's
Pedro
one.
Neto is
Yeah, go ahead.
well. Yeah, I know you want me to say physicality. He has
No,
that
no,
for
not
sure.
no, no.
He's He has that for sure. He
Yeah, no.
lacks height, so you can't really have him for heading the ball. But Neto is fast. He's creative. He causes problems. He's got an eye for the goal. He's the ultimate winger. I each time he plays, I'm praying. I'm like, please God, let this guy not get anything because without him we're done. He's been consistently there for us since the end of the last season. Yes, he's had his injuries, but may he continue being injury free because at the moment he's all we've got. He's all we've got. Can you imagine without Neto? We'd have no attacking thrust. He wins the ball, he runs up with the ball. Who else would do that for us in this team? You're talking Garnacho. At the moment, to me, that's just a big joke. To
Yeah.
be honest, forget Gittens. Gittens is nowhere near at par. Tyreek George is better, but Tyreek George as well. He's not. He's not a Neto for sure. Yeah, he got a nice goal against Fulham, an important goal. Yeah, it was a bit opportunistic, and well, you needed somebody to take the opportunity. But would you rely on him to carry the attack in the way Neto does? No. So Neto is a priceless player to us, especially now.
Hey, yeah. One thing, what I like the most about him is selflessness. Um,
Yeah,
that
yeah, I
was
would say that
evident
as well.
against against PSG. He didn't even again he didn't get the opportunity to do much in the attacking phase because he was busy tracking. You can say more specifically. Um, I remember what's his name, Hakimi. You know
Yeah,
how PSG operates. They would drag you. They would keep the ball and drag you forward, and then even under pressure, one of their eights, or maybe it depends on the applicant on how they approach the game on the day, or midfielders will again you pass it gets the ball even if he has two three people on him. Hakimi will make a run trusting that player to find him. And I think Maresca did his homework and he knew exactly how they operate and probably drilled Neto to pay attention to that. And every time they tried it, he was there. And I think on three occasions at least, he was there to follow Hakimi, even when Cucurella was a bit again in the central area or mid or forward area, and he was just so selfless and that there's some players wouldn't want to do that because he would have liked to you could say be always be in the attacking area and score two. He was practically a defender on that day. That selflessness you don't get it in you don't get it in all attacking players. Some attacking players would hate to do that, and I love them more for that. But go ahead.
yeah, and that's why I mean certainly João Pedro does that. But you see, that's what concerns me. He's the only one. We have allowed ourselves on the left to be extremely vulnerable. We're putting players that aren't ready. as a substitution for Madueke, who we sweat blood and tears to get ready. Yes, I understand. Okay, he wanted to leave, but if he goes, you don't replace him with nothing. You replace him with somebody who at least stands a chance. Now, if that person is Garnacho, as you say, which I seriously have doubts, albeit, but Garnacho couldn't even track back to help a deficiency that led to the offside goal against us against Brentford. That's a concern for me. It really is. Now, he's unfair. It's only a few minutes. I'll give him that. But he needs to do better, a lot better, before we can breathe easy and say, okay, if Neto isn't around, we've got somebody who is up to the task, because at the moment there's absolutely nobody. Our wings are a major problem. We've weakened over the summer, not strengthened.
All right. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. I'm still saying I think we'll be all right. Gittins just needs time. Garnacho, for me, I think he will surprise a lot of people. And my apologies, I have to say, again, hands up, like you would say, Bobby. I was one of those that was questioning the club's pursuit of Garnacho at the time, but I took a step back and realized I was just following the crowd, unlike me, did my research and realize what has this kid actually done to me. He's at most 20. He's a good footballer, but yeah, the you can say the these days the social media campaigns, it's easy to just join one without actually not knowing the aim of the campaign in question. I regretted it immediately and changed my view of him and focused on his footballing abilities and not pay attention to what people are saying about his so-called attitude, and also realizing that yeah, Manchester City, the Manchester United, that they've been chaotic for a few seasons right now, and player after player, you can say it. Finger pointing has been their thing for 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons actually. Right now, you can say since what's his name? Since the Dutchman Louis van Gaal. So
You know,
he's a good player, but
I couldn't care
I
less
will leave
about.
it. I'll just leave you to make
I
that decision by yourself. Watch him play.
Exactly.
See whether again, yeah, you should change your mind or not. But that's my opinion. Go ahead if you wanted to add something before
I
we continue what we have in the chat.
I couldn't care less about the gossip or the attitude or whatever it is people say. All I know is that we are in a very, very, very important season with some very big games, high profile games. We've got no room for experiments. We've got no room for players that really can't cut the mustard. We've got enough we're developing already. We don't need to be developing Garnacho. I don't care how old he is at all. I
No,
don't
he's
care.
experienced.
The,
I don't think he's
the
not
club,
wrong. He's
the
not wrong.
club. Somebody was saying something. I've forgotten where on X, but it was someone of maybe even from the Sky Sports studio, that
Mhm.
the club have taken a position of it's not about your age that they qualify you as experience. You could be young and have played a lot of games at a high level, and the club will take you as experienced. Now, maybe this is how they viewed Garnacho, but he's got to prove it. There's no place to hide at Chelsea. This is the thing. There's no place to hide. And these players have come in commanding respect, commanding the chance to play for a very, very high profile club. So I'm not going to listen to Garnacho still settling and all that. We've passed that. He's got to hit the ground running. He cost 40 million pounds, not 40 million pieces of sand.
Maybe I
He's
can.
got to be a player.
Okay, okay. And as I said, I will leave it. It's you will decide whether yeah we've made a good decision by signing him or not. But I can assure you he will do well. Honestly, I don't say that for every player we sign. I don't. Look. All I'm praying for is for him to just uh you can say be on the same wavelength with his teammates in terms of fitness and everything, chemistry. Once that happens, we've signed ourselves a beast.
Okay.
Honestly, he is a very, very good player. But we'll see. Let's see. Okay, enjoy. Yeah, I read that he joined Cyprus, and I thought he had retired before I saw that news. David Luiz, he joined the club in Cyprus. Yeah, I remember. I remember saying that. Give me 1 second here, baby. I'm coming. Um, let
Oh,
me.
staff can follow that.
Oh yeah,
You
he
follow him.
he he follows a lot of leagues.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's his country. So he says he wants to go watch him also. But all right, see you later, staff. Let's see what else we have here. I want to see goals from us next match, next big game, which is Chelsea. Okay, we'll see. I hope you guys come into the game with the mindset that you're definitely beating us. I'd love that. But that's by the way, we have 116 people following the show, but just on YouTube alone, 116, we had 150 plus, but just 15 likes. I think we can do a lot better than that. If you haven't, please take a second, drop a like on the stream, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. JK Facundes says that Ganacho left forward, Palma center, Nato right forward, and then João Pedro's number 9. I wouldn't mind Ganacho on the left, uh, Nato on the right, but I'm working with Bobby here, and we have to go with the players we know at the moment. Ganacho, because we don't do this only once. We mid-season would come back to the board and also, yeah, make a fresh selection of players we believe should be in our starting our strongest 11. But right now, let's work with the players we know. I'd say it makes sense to say Nato on the left. Yeah, so Nato on the left. I agree with you, Bobby. Then on the right, Palmer takes the number 10 position, definitely. I think he's proven to be more effective whenever he's deployed in the center area. I get it. At the time, because we were struggling, people were questioning the manager's decision to always play him in the central area, that he should deploy him on the right and all that. That even when he got a chance to play on the right, he wasn't as effective as he can be when deployed in the central area. So Palmer here, as good as Estevo is, I don't know. But Bobby, who on the right for you?
Sorry, we've said Neto on the left,
Mhm.
so
Palmer
ultimately it has to
Central.
be no, it has to be Palmer on the right.
Palmer is better again, more productive in the central area. But listen, the fact remains, it will almost always be a fluid approach. Even if it starts centrally, you probably the way he applies himself on the pitch, or because we play with a fluid approach, in some cases to see his heat map will be more concentrated on the right hand side. But I think probably he's gonna be always be starting as a 10.
Well, then the only other person we've got for that is Gustav.
I think here I wouldn't even mind Estevao here. More creative
Oh
outlet.
yeah, I forgot about
Yeah,
Esteval.
and I
Yeah,
think he's
yeah,
proven to be capable. So I'd say
yeah,
Estevao here
yeah.
until Ganacho proves he should be starting on the left, then Neto can move to the right. Estevao will be a rotating 10 with Cole Palmer, but I think I think he's going to be starting games.
Yeah, of course.
So, yeah, just one comment here. Let's see what else do we have here. According to Man United fans, Garnacho does fall asleep when it comes to the defensive aspect. Maresca will have to address that, and I think he's capable of addressing that. Yeah. So, Bobby, number 9. I think strongest. Going by his goal scoring what's the language I'm looking for? I think definitely.
Attribute,
What's his name?
Joao Pedro.
João Pedro. Yeah, I know the lap will eventually come good, and you will be seeing a lot of rotation. And in some games, given the fact that Pedro is able to play as they fulfill the number 10 role, we could see it both on the pitch. This isn't bad, but we have to also mention that Levi Cole had it not been, the fact that we're probably not going to see him until next season. I think, yeah, he'd be the guy here. He has he's the most equipped in terms of the way the manager wants his center backs to play. But unfortunately, yeah, I think you're correct. Even even if he recovers, you can say, returns before the end of the season, I don't think he'll be fully fit to get to play a part in the season. Not bad, really.
Forget Levi Gorwell this season. Even for a lot of next season, he'll have to do. If he's anywhere near fit at the end of the season, he'll have to be able to do a good preseason, which it's going to take a lot. I've completely written him off. Maybe even for the beginning of next season, we might. I've got my eye on Anselmino to really
He's
because
good. He's good.
Levi with that an ACL, you never know what comes back and how long it will take him to come back.
Yeah, unfortunately, and I think if we're being honest, we don't know whether he's going to come back the same.
Certainly not initially. Look at Virgil van Dijk. It took him about 2, maybe even 3 seasons to get back to what he's, to his best. And even then, he's still a little bit cautious. It's just that he's got a good defensive brain and he surrounds himself at the right moments. So, I've not got him in mind at all.
Yeah. I do agree. So let's get two of the last comments here, and then we'll call it a day. We'll schedule another show tomorrow. We'll look at our schedules for the week. Then on Tuesday we'll do the match preview. But tomorrow definitely we'll look at our schedules for the rest of the month. Again, it will be fun. But that's by the way. Let's see here. Can someone explain how these two towering central defenders, Aderobi Oyo and Chalobah, should be scared for long throws, clearance in defense? I only know. Let me see what it says there. I only know it's used against teams with average central defenders, not CFC central defenders. Yeah, both are tall, but I think we did discuss that at length. Uh, we became a bit nervous towards the end of that game, and um, sorry, Bobby. Sorry about that. Um, we became a bit nervous towards the end of the game, and then you said defended like primary school kids. We have four, about 3-4 players concentrating on a single player, leaving the space behind. Ganacho did lose his man, but I'm not going to blame him. You should have at least Cucurella defending that uh, particular pole, but nobody was there. Let's see. You okay? Okay. Okay. Big up, big up, big up, big up, Tony. Nice to see you. I do hope you're doing well. Again, I understand probably a busy day for you. I know you love to talk Chelsea, but probably didn't have the time to join the conversation today. Charlie Musonda too played in Cyprus. I didn't know, but he's retired now. He's retired now. Thank you for that, Bobby. Anything else you want to talk about before we call it a day?
Yeah, I think we've covered a lot of bases this evening.
All right. Thank you so much. I want to say thank you to our senior panelists. Bobby, thank you for finding the time to join the conversation. Thank you to Star. Thank you to Tony Sewell. I appreciate you, my bro, for finding the time to join the conversation. Who else was here? Rugged Frankie. Nice to see you. The Demo Knight. Nice to see you. JK Fagundes. I hope I did not butcher your last name. Who else? Sharif. Nice to see you. If I miss your name, apologies. I'm only human. See you guys next time. God bless us all and cheers.
Still blue. Footsteps on Fulham Road, moonlight on my pride. Wore this badge through highs and lows, never had to hide. Memories in Stamford breeze echo through my chest. Not every win is sweet, but I gave my all, no less. We sang through the rain, we danced through the pain. The Jersey frayed at the seams, but it still feels right. Been through darkest nights, still shining bright. We bled in the game, we rose with no shame. The bridge still whispers my name. Still blue, every tear and every cheer. Still blue, with my voice loud and clear. I carry the pride of the shed and crew. Win or lose, I'm still blue. From Drogba's fire to Reece's run, we stood tall under every sun. Through Abramovich nights to new days begun, this heart beats for only one. Still blue, even when they don't believe. Still blue, every year we grieve and dream. I carry the hope of the shed and crew. Born for this, I'm still blue. Still blue. Still blue. Footsteps on Fulham Road, moonlight on my pride. Wore this badge through highs and lows, never had to hide. Memories in Stamford breeze echo through my chest. Not every win is sweet, but I gave my all, no less. We sang through the rain, we danced through the pain. The pitch still remembers my name. Still blue, through the silence and the roar. Still blue, even when we don't score. I carry the soul of the shed and crew. You can't shake me, I'm still blue. Still here, still true. Woke up to the chance, paint cracked on my wall, but the pride in my heart never faded at all. Jersey frayed at the seams, but it still feels right. Been through darkest nights, still shining bright. We bled in the game, we rose with no shame. The bridge still whispers my name. Still blue, every tear and every cheer. Still blue, with my voice loud and clear. I carry the pride of the shed and crew. Win or lose, I'm still blue. From Drogba's fire to Reece's run, we stood tall under every sun. Through Abramovich nights to new days begun, this heart beats for only one. Still blue, even when they don't believe. Still blue, every year we grieve and dream. I carry the hope of the shed and crew. Born for this, I'm still blue. Still blue. Still blue. Footsteps on Fulham Road, moonlight on my pride. Wore this badge through highs and lows, never had to hide. Memories in Stamford breeze echo through my chest. Not every win is sweet, but I gave my all, no less. We sang through the rain, we danced through the pain. The pitch still remembers my name. Still blue through the silence and the roar. Still blue even when we don't score. I carry the soul of the shedding crew. You can't shake me, I'm still blue. Still here, still true. Woke up to the chance, paint cracked on my wall, but the pride in my heart never faded at all. Jersey frayed at the seams, but it still feels right. Been through darkest nights, still shining bright. We bled in the game, we rose with no shame. The bridge still whispers my name. Still blue, every tear and every cheer. Still blue, with my voice loud and clear. I carry the pride of the shedding crew. Win or lose, I'm still blue. From Drogba's fire to Reece's run, we stood tall under every sun. Through Abramovich nights to new days begun, this heart beats for only one. Still blue, even when they don't believe. Still blue, every year we grieve and dream. I carry the hope of the shedding crew, born for this, I'm still blue. Still blue. Still blue. Footsteps on full